shit. for that jag, for that shit, for that lag. With the diamond in the bag. I've been grinding till it's late, trying to get my mama straight. I'ma put it on the line, counting every breath I take. Gotta hustle for that bag, for that beamer, for that jag, for that shit, for that lag. With the diamond in the bag. I've been grinding till it's late, trying to get my mama straight. I'ma put it on the line, counting every breath I take. Runners go up, runners go up, runners go up. Crown seat soon, feel it weighing down on my shoulders. Rules are meant to break by the proudest ones. Money on my head cause I'm lawless. Taking no relate, walking down this road. I don't relate, being the same, ain't no debate. Cause rules are meant to break by the proudest ones. Didn't do recon, but they wanna lead him and guide him straight and tip him off axis. I was in a better get a beast, meanwhile they was cutting man deep like sickle or mantis. I've been winning off practice, not clout or digital captions. World's in madness, how am I gonna manifest greatness if I don't make actions? I don't need reasons, I just need money and power and stat lift. I don't wanna do it like that, that method's too underhanded. The big man said it ain't landing, never gonna profit off badness. Never got a dollar off sadness, but I've been sunk so I don't do sanctions. Heavy is the hit, that crown sheet soon. Feel it weighing down on my shoulders. Rules are meant to break by the proudest ones. Money on my head cause I'm lawless. Taking no relate, walking down this road. I don't relate, being the same, ain't no debate. Cause rules are meant to break by the proudest ones. Came in this game with a serious killing instinct, man, I never did courses. Look at all the times in the past they rejected him, now they wanna imitate patterns and forces. Stone eye vision like organs. Terrified look in his eye when he finally realised all of the weapons that he brought to the war ain't forming. I've been giving this heart and body and soul and mind and organs, knocked to my fingers bled. Now it's through skeleton keys and door kicks. Treading with means and caution, man, I had bellies to feed from morning. So if they start selling me dreams, I'm walking. Yeah. I was uncomfortable, man, I was scared. Looking for solace and they wasn't there. Now I'm a problem and they wouldn't dare. Yeah. Doubling down cause this game isn't fair. They loaded the dice, I came in prepared. Feeling it so out of body, I feel like I'm floating on air. How do you cope when they never gave you hope? Really left you in the cold, and it's weighing heavy on your soul. To be honest, I don't know. Either way, I had to grow. Get it together, whatever the weather, and carry that tribulation to the throne. Heavy is the hit, that crown sheet soon. Feel it weighing down on my shoulders. Rules are meant to break by the proudest ones. Money on my head cause I'm lawless. Taking no relate, walking down this road. I don't relate, being the same, ain't no debate. Cause rules are meant to break by the proudest ones.
I have confidence going into my match, no matter if I'm the underdog, if I'm the favorite. Even if we come in as the underdogs, I don't think that we are actually worse than them. Sometimes it gives you nothing to lose and you play better. For me, it doesn't really matter. I just want to go on the stage and play my best.
생각보다 저는 잘하는 팀이라고 생각하고 있었고 실제로 잘한다고 생각하고 있었는데 그냥 다소 한 끗 차이? 충분히 강한 팀이라고 생각하고 있습니다.
I'm really happy to play against Genji. Their mid jungler, Peanut and Shelby, I think they just perfect mid jungler duo. If I can win the mid, I think we really can playable.
블레이버 선수 아니면 버서커 선수가 아무래도 두 선수가 제일 위협적이거나 회리력 있는 모습으로 눈에 비춰졌던 것 같아요.
Yeah, I think it's our beginning and we will prove NA is not weak.
둘 다 아쉽게도 이런 패배자 조에서 만나게 됐지만 그리고 경기는 저희가 이기도록 하겠습니다.
Welcome everyone to Gen G versus Cloud9 live from the Copper Box Arena in London. The atmosphere is hyped and we will see if the LCS champion has what it takes to stay in the tournament as they have a mountain to climb up versus LCK champion Gen G.
I thought we were going to do the whole show off that one.
Me too. I thought it was going to last a little longer, do a little outfit check. It's okay though. Hello everyone, my name is Shox and I'm joined by Azael, Chronicler, and Jat, which I think is a good duo to cover, 2 LCS, 1 LCK, and I guess I'll just join your crew then.
Yeah. I mean, I
the winning
kind of
team,
figured.
since I don't have anyone to support.
Oh.
We'll have to bring in a 5th analyst to decide who wins Game 5.
Yeah, we will. As I mentioned already, unfortunately, we did have to say goodbye to the last LEC team yesterday, as G2 once again was buried by an LPL team.
Caps is here too. It's a house party on the top side of the map.
The slam dunk by Yike following up the explosive castle.
He used his flash earlier, and G2 find the kill, they find the shutdown, they find life in London!
Hold on. Nice. Hey, Aphelios Naughty, we win. I'm Aphelios. Yeah? No. Nice. Nice.
A heartbreaking end to the tournament for G2 Esports.
London, give a shout out to G2 as they take the stage for the last time.
That was beautiful and sad and riveting all
That's
at
all
the
good
same
stories
time.
are.
Yeah, I mean, you're still laughing now. I'll talk to you in 3 hours. Anyways.
I have experience with this. I'm numb to the pain.
Oh my God, I'm getting there. But anyways, G2 didn't make it, but BLG did. So let's throw up the bracket and see, because they're still fighting in that lower bracket. FLICKR, and they've been underestimated every step of the way, but they're still in the tournament. They're still making gains. They're still improving. So credit to them.
Yeah, BLG is showing that, you know, you might have some shaky moments, but what matters in the end is actually being able to get the win. And when it comes to that, obviously against JDG, weren't able to get anything going there, but they're showing, I think, that as long as you have faith in your team fighting skills, can come back, especially in the current meta.
Yeah, and just looking at this bracket, you're going to need a lot of team fighting. So BLG won 3 games yesterday. They still need to win 9 more before they can get the MSI title. The 2 teams playing today, Gen G and C9, need to win 12 games to win the title.
And I mean, I think that's just the meta, right? Like, it's all about bot lane. It's all about who can 5v5 best, who can enable your AD carries best. And Gen G are fantastic about doing it. You know, they're back-to-back #1 seed, but it doesn't always feel like they get that same level of credit, you know, internationally, because they keep losing to other LCK teams.
Unfortunately, Chronicler.
Yeah, because Gen G, obviously the upset against T1 that they found in finals was really, really big, but last year they were just the clear favorite, and then coming into the World Championship specifically, losing to the eventual winner of the tournament, I think is fine. But what is a bigger issue for this team is actually showing the level of domestic performance, because even though they were able to get the semis, they were not looking like they did domestically, right? They completely ran early games. They looked unstoppable in the LCK. And then when it came to the international stage, even with how far they came, they didn't look the same.
Yeah, and I think
keep spinning, keep spinning more.
Stay loose.
Yeah. Keep spinning. Go.
One interesting character on Gen G for me is actually Chovy, and he's had so much, he's nauseous now, so much incredible domestic success, being almost the perfect player, but then you come internationally and he has never won an international title. So it got me thinking, is Chovy the greatest player to never win an international title? I can't with a straight face.
No, I mean, this is such a serious point, and everybody's getting spun around, unfortunately.
Well, I think the question is, you know, are you judging that then based off his regional play or his international play, right? Because I wouldn't say he's the best ever player like at an international tournament to not win, because he hasn't really performed, I think, to the same level that he does in LCK. If you're looking just at regional dominance, I think it's a fair argument. The guy is amazing.
Listen, I love the discussion point. Let Jat know on Twitter. And
I actually want to know others, because when I thought of Chovy, I'm like, he has to actually be
put a pin in it. I have something for you in a little bit, actually, so we can keep talking about it.
Is it Blabber instead?
I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later, okay? Let me run the show. Anyways, let's talk about Cloud9 as well. Also find themselves now in the lower bracket, and when we look at Cloud9, they are domestically very, very successful, and actually they are always heralded as the most successful LCS team internationally as well, Azale. But when we look at that with a critical lens, it hasn't been recently.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while, especially if you're talking about actually like taking a series or taking games off of LCK and LPL. They haven't taken a game off of an LPL or an LCK team since 2018 in a BO5, right? So, you know, that is what the challenge is going to be today. And they'll need to take 3. It was in 2018 that they made it all the way to the World Semifinals, but this is a team that I think people have faith in, not just because of the results, but because they have been that one team that goes internationally and plays their style. They don't just play that defensive style and kind of sit back and wait to lose. They're often our team that challenges the meta, tries to play aggressive.
Yep. Interestingly enough, they have met a bunch of times, even though we don't get to see a lot of matchups. Maybe this is a more apt warm-up than the spinning. Anyways, you guys talked about Chovy earlier, and I want to introduce a new concept to talk about some of these players that I stole from Azael. It's called the That Guy-O-meter. So Azael, what constitutes you being that guy?
That guy gets a counter pick. That guy wants all the resources. He takes over the game. He wins the series. He clutches it out. You know, being that guy is being clutch. It's being the star.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are we going to do this?
Well, let's start with Chovy.
Okay.
So
that guy or not that guy?
I believe, based on especially the way he plays in the LCK, he's so heavily
I'll help you out.
Yeah,
that guy.
You.
He's so much that guy.
In the LCK, he's definitely that guy.
He gets every CS. His laning is immaculate. Maybe you could argue he over-prioritizes his own gold sometimes, but that's also how you get strong. So Chovy, that guy.
Yeah, but when he's playing international, when he's playing against other LCK teams,
he starts
to move over a little bit.
So how
No,
low
you can't go that far. Can't go that far.
This isn't me. This is Azael's words.
No, come on. You gotta put him over.
Okay, wait. Let's crowd. Is Chovy
that guy?
Yeah, of course he is.
Okay.
Or is he not that guy?
They'll cheer for anything. Come on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay,
Well,
nice.
I'm gonna follow it up with another strong one. Pace is 100% that guy. Comes in his first LCK split, has to follow up after Ruler, and plays like he is a seasoned veteran. We've had so many up-and-coming talents through challengers, but very rarely do they actually deliver on the things and the highlights you see within that league.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy is completely unshakable. You know, we had G-Sun on the desk. She was talking about how, you know, he just doesn't get nervous. He's never really intimidated in these situations, whether it's international, whether it's a regional final, whether it's going up against some of the most famous players in the world. It's really incredible.
I think we can all agree, probably.
Yeah, Pace is easy.
I mean, a huge focus in today's match. So let's talk about his opponent today, Berserker. That guy, not that guy?
I think Berserker's that guy.
Okay.
So I think even in this tournament, even though they haven't won, he's had a lot of moments that make him that guy. There was this incredible moment in the Golden Guardian series, and maybe it's because of the confidence, but look at the way he just keeps the maximum range at 1 hit of health left and actually manages to kill 2 people. So he finishes off Stixxay here, perfectly spaced with the Zeracuse, and he later on killed Huhi in this clip.
I mean, I want to believe it, but this is just LCS goes on in the venture, right? Like, this is just LCS overseas.
Well, maybe he's that guy.
Is he going to be that guy against Gen G?
Yeah,
that's my concern, because when they played against BLG, he was not that guy, right? Like, when he was going up against Elf, so even when he was in winning positions, probably I feel like he was more in the middle.
This level of guy, or like this?
I mean,
level?
maybe that.
I think you can put him here, but the question is, does he have the other guys?
Yeah, because like
to go with
we
him?
don't know yet. So maybe we'll see after today's series.
Okay, now see Fudge.
Oh, okay.
Fudge is, last time he was at MSI, he was over there.
Yeah.
He was that guy. He was coming in the carry meta. You know, people didn't really expect anything from him. He was popping off on Lee Sin picks. He was really dominant, really explosive, and he was making the game about him when people weren't expecting that. This MSI, I feel like he has not been that guy. He's been fine. You know, he was able to somewhat contain Bin. Bin just wasn't dominating him in lane, but it is not the Fudge that I've really come to expect in the LCS, where he plays with so much confidence, and he can create small leads, and he finds openings to really make things happen. He has felt very quiet, very reserved, and that is not that guy.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to even his performance at last year's World Championship, right? It's the string of then to now. It seems like he doesn't have that international confidence. So he is that guy in the LCS where he's able to win with all his counter picks, but he hasn't been able to do that so far here.
Great focus going into this series, Chronicler. Anyone else from Gen G?
Okay, well, I mean, we gotta bring a little Peanut. As much as I love him, as successful as he has been at times, there have been a fair amount of moments domestically where he has not been that guy. As we can see,
sure, whatever you want.
In these close matches in particular.
Over here?
Right, yeah, I mean, Peanut's early game.
Not everyone can be that guy.
Not everyone on the team can be that guy.
Yeah.
You need to spread it out, you know, you need to get where it deserves. And I think for Peanut, he is, to me,
he can
one
give
of the
his
weak
jungle
points.
camps to that guy.
Yeah, well, hey, I wouldn't be surprised. But you have to actually shut him down, because once the game goes to later, Peanut moves closer and closer
Yes.
to being that guy again.
And there's a big question today. Who will be that guy in the jungle as Peanut and Blabber are facing off in our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz?
Today's featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz is between a jungler looking to defy expectations in Blabber versus a legend that has proven he can defy expectations time and time again.
Chovy opens up that shield, so big Pace takes another, starts to get excited, and Gen.G starts to get excited too!
The LCK veteran burst onto the scene back in 2016, winning MSI the following year, and is one of the greatest stars in the game today. In order to stop Peanut in his tracks towards lifting the MSI title once again, Blabber needs to have the best performance of his career. Anything but a 3-0 for Gen.G will be a surprise. And no matter the final result, Cloud9 putting up a fight against the LCK champions will be exactly what the LCS needs to light back up that old spark.
Well, the man who made history, of course, won MSI back in 2017. The man that made history actually won MSI back in 2017. So a little bit of a drought there as well, you got to say, but extremely, extremely successful in his own right. Versus Blabber, someone who really wants to make a mark on the international stage and hopefully win a title here or in the future for himself and his team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he has kind of had his career marred by the crab incident or whatever you want to call it. But I think that, even though they have not been able to take games off some of the big teams yet, individually, Blabber has been really good this tournament. Yep. And he is a guy who, in North America, is really proving himself beyond any doubt. He has won titles with 4 different mid laners, and I think his career trajectory is that to surpass that of Bjergsen and Doublelift as the greatest NA player of all time.
And what would really help with that would be a victory over Gen.G, and then a victory over, and just you carry it on, but just a really strong showing internationally. And you can do so much individually, but you also need to be able to will your team to victory.
What's important for me is this matchup. Getting ahead of Peanut is one thing, right? But that alone is not enough, because Peanut has shown so many times, most notably the 5th game in Dom1 versus Gen.G, he will not tilt. He will find a way to come back into the game. So what Blabber needs to do is actually be able to get him down in the early game, which I think he has shown that he can do, but then also spread that influence to the rest of them, most notably to MNS, so that they can keep Chovy down.
Okay, let's take a look at what the fans think in our MasterCard fan predictions and see if it's skewed, if it's rooted in reality, or what we got. You can also...
Makes sense.
Is it mirroring reality?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much everyone is expecting a 3-0 or a 3-1. I think that is kind of across the board what people are saying. So I think, it lines up with that. You would hope since the Western vote, maybe they would have had a little bit more hopium.
Maybe, but each day you can head over to @MasterCardNexus on Twitter to participate, and let's use the remaining time then to look at this prediction. Obviously in the context of the last LCS team fighting for survival, how do they win today?
I mean, Berserker will need to pop off. And I think Sven will actually be fairly tested in this series. He's actually been an amazing Enchanter support player in the LCS in the 2 titles that he's won. If they're able to set up situations where I'd say they don't want to be playing against Lucian Nami, but if they can early get a Philios, Jinx, and just get him on Lulu a lot and have that not targeted by Gen.G, I think that would be amazing. I also just want to see Blabber play completely free. Let him go wherever he wants, be as efficient as he wants to, and really unlock him to do well.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for Cloud9 is they just have to play like they do regionally. Win or lose, they have to play with confidence. They have to all be on the same page. That's something that was really missing against BLG, where they looked hesitant. Some people are going in. Some people are trying to pull back. And in the LCS, even when they're having horrible games, they're always all on the same page.
Yeah, I love how you say on the same page, maybe, because they're gonna have to have to get at him today. And I think let's also hear the perspective of you. What do you not want to see from Gen.G, and how do they make sure they come out of this unscathed?
I think the main thing for Gen.G is, by default, even within the LCK, Gen.G knows if we can get to the team fighting stage, we can win, right? Like, they've done that with Ruler. They've been doing exactly the same thing with Pace. I think their biggest weakness has been when they try and get too excited, for their own good, when we see Doranlock in his Malphite, which has not been very successful. And when they really try to push past what is comfortable for them, I think they can look a little bit more shaky, but still, you need to all in them early. You need to keep them down, because if you give them even a single opportunity, as even teams like Dom1, right, with Showmaker and Canyon have shown, you can't give them any way back in the game.
No, you can't, so it's going to be a hard task for Cloud9. Is the LCS ready for a huge upset, or will it be smooth sailing for Gen.G to the next round? Flowers, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shocks, and welcome back, everybody, to the next installment of MSI 2023, a best of 5 between Cloud9 and Gen G. The loser goes home. I'm Captain Flowers here with Kobe and Bettius yet again, and hopefully we have an action-packed afternoon ahead of us.
Here's hoping, gentlemen. I know that there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders right now. North America's last hope, the West's last hope. Gen G is no easy opponent, but without further ado, we're going to be jumping straight into the draft. Rakan and Cassante. So Gen G already attacking that potential Xayah Rakan bot lane that C9 have demonstrated here at MSI, with the Maokai and Vi being removed from C9, eliminating some of the strong picks that Peanut is very well known for at this tournament.
Yeah, and this was already used, a tactic by T1 versus Gen G. So I like this. Already we're trying to see Cloud9 use that template that T1 established to take down Gen G with some of the jungle focus here with the bans.
So we've got the Rakan, the Annie, the Cassante banned out by Gen G. Cloud9 focusing that jungle pool nice and early here with the Vi. Maokai right next to it, taking the full time here. Also going to ban out the Ahri. This is one that both teams we expect to have their eyes on as this series progresses. And with things going over to Gen G, fun fact, gentlemen, for Gen G, they have banned Nautilus every single game of this tournament that they have played so far. Now that it's made it through the first phase of the bans, they're going to lock it in.
And so I'm thinking Aphelios Lulu. If we're looking at yesterday, Lulu to me is so highly prized right now when you're running Jinx Aphelios meta, having the enchanter that scales so well in buffing up those AD carries to try and carry those team fights. You have to think, if you're going to trade over the Nautilus on red side here, grab the Lulu to supplement this Aphelios.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Nothing too surprising coming out from Cloud9. Gen G, with the flexibility that they have with the Nautilus, remember that it can be moved into both mid lane and support. It gives Gen G a lot of breathing room here. Do they want to try and get themselves an early jungler? Wukong is something that we've still seen be a very high priority, high value teamfight champion. We've also seen Xayah still come out, but the Jinx is the expected from Hayes, given that so far in this tournament, it has just been the Jinx Aphelios show.
Exactly. Out of the 9 games Pays has played, 4 have been on Jinx, 4 have been on Aphelios. Not surprising at all to see Gen G secure that for themselves, and it'll also be the Blitzcrank down there in the support role.
And the goal of the Blitzcranks in these lanes is always to add volatility to these Lulu lanes, because Lulu's trying to scale, and so most of the teams picking this Blitzcrank into those lanes to try and get those early kills, try and force fights through the river around Dragon as well. And when you have Nautilus plus Blitzcrank, Gen G, they've got so many tools to get those picks around the Dragon fights.
So we saw a very similar draft yesterday in the G2 BLG series with this matchup, and G2 were unable to really do much with the Blitzcrank in the early game. Pressure will be on Gen G to find those opportunities, as C9 going for a very traditional front-to-back composition. They can now remove some of the answers, things like the Kennen, the Gwen already being banned out from the side of Cloud9. They may even consider banning the Gragas, given that Doran is so well known for that pick.
I 100% agree. That's what I was going to jump on. It's like, you need to take that out, because Cloud9, when you see the early first 2 picks here, Aphelios Lulu, you're trying to create the stability for the front-to-back team fight already with the entire rest of the draft, and Gen G trying to upset it. So take away what was Doran's biggest champion in the playoffs.
And also Gen G banning out the Sylas here. Nautilus ultimate is one of those that Sylas usually likes to be able to steal away. We've seen him target the Blitzcrank ulti in a couple games previously in this tournament as well. So they don't want to have that possibility of getting in there and causing a ruckus. Nidalee banned out by C9, paying some respect over to Peanut.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. We've seen even in his loss, his Nidalee was still very impactful against G2 from Peanut. So I'm curious as to what direction the junglers actually go now. With Lee Sin being banned away, Wukong kind of rises as that high priority pick, but both junglers happen to play things like the Kindred, the cheeky Skarner hover just for you, Captain Flowers.
Thank you, Blabber!
Well, I do think that Gen G for sure going to need some more damage, a little bit more damage in their team comp. Probably get 1 more to supplement the Jinx. You don't want to be full 1 carry style team. Meanwhile, Cloud9 going to have to show their mid lane first. And MNS slaps down the Syndra into Chovy.
Remember when M&S was playing in the LCS, he popped off, he kind of made his name on Assassin-style champions. The Syndra was that first real control mage that he played and sort of showed that he wasn't just an Assassin player only.
Yeah, we definitely want to take out the Victor. That was the first non-Assassin
That was the first control mage that he
good.
played, but not the first one that he played well. Back over on the side of Gen G, we got to see what they want to lock in here for these last two picks. The Ornn locked in for top.
And like I was talking about before, they want a little bit more damage, so you saw them kind of deciding, flipping through some hovers of jungle DPS champions here. They could, you know, come up with whatever they want here for Peanut. He's such a versatile player. Originally a carry player, but of course a lot recently has been playing so much utility for the team. Let's get him back on some carry power.
I mean, damage is a little lacking with what Gen G have for themselves right now. Both Kindred and Kha'Zix, I think, do make sense. The question is, how will C9 round out their draft? They've got more than enough damage. Perhaps they want a little bit more utility. Like, I do think Wukong does make sense in terms of the comp, but Poppy is another pick that we thought a lot about coming into this series. It's proven to be very effective. Wait for the final lock-in, but
Poppy. I want Poppy. I want Poppy because Blabber's Poppy, when he pulled it out in LCS playoffs, was magnificent. Very, very active. He ganked all 3 lanes, as well as having accurate Poppy ultimates around those objectives to really help out Cloud9, and that's what you want in this team comp. You've got the front to back all set up here to buff up Berserker, and if you have the Poppy ultimate for objectives, then you don't fall into that trap necessarily that a lot of the Western teams have around the Barons of flipping those objectives.
And with the Poppy locked in the jungle, that will make 8 different champions in 8 separate games here in the jungle for Blabber so far at MSI 2023, showing off the depth of the champ pool, but we're gonna need to see Cloud9 execute cool and clean against Gen G if they wanna stand a chance against them. The North American squad, the desk was talking about it, they have struggled to find any wins internationally in a best of 5 since 2018, and now they're going up against #1 from Korea.
I mean, for Cloud9, they have a really good setup. The draft for themselves is like, it's going to be difficult for Chovy to bully you in lane in this matchup. When you have 2 tanks in the top lane, it should be a pretty neutral matchup. The bot lane is where it's going to be the most volatile, and we know how aggressive Delight and Pays can be. So all eyes on bot. How can junglers impact it, and who can get the early edge?
And Gen G, they have invested in these volatile hook champions. So we're going to see them follow that game plan, look for the kills with the Blitz, with the Nautilus, and see if they can get that gold.
We're on to Summoner's Rift for the first time today. Gen G versus Cloud9. #1 from Korea versus #1 from North America. Winner moves on to play BLG. Loser watches the rest of the tournament from home. And Cloud9 is grouped up as 5 from an early invade. They will be seen by the ward, but they'll find it and sweep it away.
Okay, so what is C9 now going to use this for? Are they going to split the map and do the Scion tech? We've seen it multiple times at this tournament, and I think it does make a lot of sense. We were already talking about how Pays and Delight want to have a little bit more volatility in this bot side of the map, and by creating this split map, I think it just isolates Peanut away and allows them to threaten the dive, but it looks like for now they're not going to do it. They haven't even dropped any... They have dropped a little bit of vision.
So you're doing the mind game here, because like I was talking about for Cloud9, they're trying to follow this template from T1. Hey, they're red side. Hey, they have Scion. You expect them to continue with that full bottom side clear and split the map. However, they go for the recall here because they know Gen G will be expecting this. Everybody now is so ready for these Scion starts where they're splitting the map, and Fudge actually is just going to help leash their own red side instead of the Gen G red side.
Smart play by Chovy. You'll notice that ward that he dropped just by the Raptors. This should give him information as to where Blabber is, and then Peanut can adjust his path accordingly. By starting on the blue, he has the freedom to potentially make that split map. There's already an all-in from the C9 bot lane.
Pays at 250 HP, pull from Delight, bringing Berserker even closer, but it's Gen G with more critical health bars as both marksmen are taken below 200 health.
And now because Cloud9 did not do the Scion bottom side red quadrant start here, they do not have the safety of knowing that Kha'Zix is split to the other side of the map. So with the early aggression here, they want to try and bounce this wave before Kha'Zix gets down here. But it looks like Gen G pushing out on the wave. They get their level 2 first.
Delight's gonna look for this here. Fires off the rocket grab of Berserker with a sidestep.
That's a critical dodge right there on the level 2 versus level 1 power spike. And Sven is happy about it.
The level 2 now comes through from the C9 bot lane. More information gained from Gen G. They realize that the top side has been cleared from Blabber, and now Peanut will run face-to-face with the Cloud9 jungler. With the push that Berserker and Sven have, Peanut has to be respectful at the possibility of that red being contested, but Blabber is looking for even more.
Blabber showing up there, forcing the jump out of the Kha'Zix. Otherwise, the wallbang would have been in range. Blabber could have taken a chunk out of Peanut's health bar. They'll fight each other over the large Krug. It's Peanut with the smite secure to guarantee that he gets that one. And Blabber has to walk out with the bottom lane of Gen G making their way back into the area.
Yeah, nice timing here for Cloud9, for Blabber. He comes down, he screens for the bottom lane because they forced the Gen G bottom laners out after that trade. He knows pre-boots 1, it's about 30 seconds to walk back down to bottom side. So 25, 24 seconds or so ahead of time, he leaves the Krugs, doesn't want to stick around to fight over the last 2 little mini ones, gets out of there before the Gen G bottom lane gets back to lane.
A lot of time spent though from Blabber. He will now secure the blue buff. Delight looking for a bit of a cheeky sneak. Will not be able to connect, but Peanut now pretty healthy advantage in terms of the jungle camps, and now that they have information as to where Blabber is, if Peanut wanted to, he could cross map and go secure himself the other crab. The pings are coming down. He was like, hey Chovy, do you have any information? Is Chovy actually looking for a dive here maybe?
Yeah, Fudge at half HP and not a lot of mana to work with. Doran also almost We'll see if Gen G really wants to execute on this. Chovy's gonna lead the way, finds the initial route. Fudge down to 100 health. One more hit'll do it. It's first blood, a 1-for-1. Fudge gets Chovy back with the help of the turret.
Honestly, versus a Scion, that is not worth it for Gen G. Fudge gets the counter kill and Zombie Scion's able to get a couple of the CS there, then teleport right back.
A big commitment there from Chovy, and this does allow M&S to just push in that wave, get a free base. He's not going to commit the teleport because he doesn't need to. And this also gives some safety to Blabber to hover around the bot side. He ideally now needs to reset, clear out those top camps. But there's a big stacking wave here, and I think the C9 do need to consider trying to threaten something on this bot side of the map in the upcoming few minutes. But as I said, Blabber going back to base for now, looking to clear out that top side.
Yeah, so there's a slow push being generated on the bottom side here for Cloud9. Blabber looking to try and get at least Raptors taken care of before he heads on down there. Chovy with the deep ward though. Already you can see the vision line for Gen G is encroaching in Cloud9 territory. Thank you, observers, for the preemptive ward on those Raptors that Blabber's going right for, plus the Chovy one that just got dealt.
All right, things are still dead even here with only that trade of kills up in the top side, 5 minutes in. Remember that traditionally Cloud9 in the LCS in this past spring split have not been a team that builds up a lot of leads very early in the laning phase. Usually it's after the plates fall, after laning ends. And so as they continue forward here for the next 10 minutes, 9 minutes or something like that, they want to try to keep things even, bar for bar, here with Gen G. Chovy level 6 now on the Nautilus, especially with a high damage jungler like this Kha'Zix for Peanut. This is very dangerous whenever M&S is away from his turret, and Cloud9 is gonna have to make sure that they're doing their due diligence, avoiding the potential gank threat there.
And because Blabber is spending a lot of time, going to try and supplement these lanes on their pushed out waves, he's a little bit behind Peanut here as far as the camps go. Kha'Zix slightly ahead, especially with the early lethality, and him ending on bottom side here for Krugs for Peanut with a control ward in the tri-brush. Delight gonna possibly look for something.
Berserker, another good sidestep there, making sure he doesn't get tagged by the zap, but it will be a 3v3 down here. Blabber only level 4 compared to the level 5 of Peanut is a market disadvantage for C9. Delight gonna see if he can find a rocket crab. It's Sven pulled in, the damage finding its way onto the Cloud9 support, but he stays alive! Berserker's got pays! Berserker's got paid! Delight gets the kill back onto Sven to make it a 1-for-1, and the game stays even.
Ooh, another 1-for-1 play initiated by Gen G. Delight does hit the hook onto Sven. By the way, Delight, under a previous name, Crescent, was a partner for Berserker originally when they were T1 trainees coming up together, and in the end, it is a trade. Both their new lane partners taken down.
Fudge maybe in a bit of danger here as Chovy has made his way over. Peanut on his way as well. Fudge's ultimate will connect onto Doran. The flash comes out, but he has tower aggro as well.
Oh, Fudge, the flash there. A little unfortunate. He is going to at least grab the turret plate on his way out thanks to the Demolish proc, but he's down, and that's Gen G, +1 on kills.
Yeah, nicely done by Doran. He gets in front of the ultimate.
Okay, pulled from Delight, but Blabber's coming over the wall. He will not connect into the wall for the slam on the Blitzcrank. So now Sven and Blabber have to walk this one away as Berserker continues shoving up the weight.
But Fudge watched the boss's little informative video because as he's dying, he goes right for the turret plate and he at least got the demolish proc. Here's another look at it. Delight hits Sven with the hook into the flame chompers. Nicely placed there by Pays, but him flashing afterwards. Look at the no hesitation from Blabber and Berserker. They flash right on Pays, so it is a support for AD carry trade, and that allowed Berserker to get the extra push in, and you see CS on bottom side in Cloud9's favor.
Sven just bought a lot of time, and that made it so much easier for Berserker and Blabber to focus down Pays. The focus for Gen G this game definitely feels a lot on Fudge, and they're looking for another play.
Yes, sir. Fudge found out here. The engage from the Ornn, the damage from the Kha'Zix. No prayer for the Scion, and Fudge falls for the third time in game one.
I mean, it is unfortunate for Fudge, like the last error that he made, a little bit of an unnecessary one, but the reality is that the bot side of the map is still gaining all these advantages for C9, so it's not the end of the world as Blabber and Peanut go face-to-face once more.
And the real reward here would be the Rift Herald.
Now hold on, Blabber just immediately being engaged on there by Delight, but the counterattack from C9 might be enough. Super Mega Death Rocket gonna take the Poppy down to 100 HP, and Chovy secures the kill. The downtown damage from Pays guarantees Gen G come out on top.
As you rightly said, Flowers, the involvement of Pays' ultimate is really what swung in favor of Gen G. The hook connects.
Oh, Sven, what are you doing there? Peanut just got himself a whole nother kill for free. 2-0 and 2 on the Kha'Zix. Delight is dialing in on the rocket grabs, and Gen G gets the Herald.
When it rains, it pours, gentlemen. It starts with a pick on the top laner. That's domino effect. Transitions into Rift Herald start. They get pick after pick, even though they chunk Peanut very low here. The extra kill onto Blabber. Let's take a look at it. He gets a nice little chunk here onto Peanut. They get him to 50%, but he's got to get out of there because they have no top laner. Teleport now coming back for Fudge, but Delight is already here with the flash knock up into Hook. And since they've got the double Hook champions, Chovy's able to get him in range. Big ulti from Jinx comes through. Blabber was trying to get the positioning here on the charge onto that little wall. Couldn't quite get it onto Chovy though, and then he's low enough to die.
It was definitely a winnable skirmish for C9, and if it wasn't for Pays' rocket connecting, I really think that there was a world where they could have converted that into a kill. But it is how things played out in favor of Gen G. They're going to secure themselves a plate. They got themselves the Herald as well. And things are definitely looking good for Gen G as they quickly convert this into a dragon. And what seemed very promising for C9 in the early game, the fact that Berserker was in, and still is in, a very commanding position. You look at this Kha'Zix, who has now 1,000 gold lead over Blabber. The fact that they have all these early objectives, Gen G definitely finding the early game advantages that they were looking for.
Yeah, those objectives will snowball you pretty quickly. And here goes Delight again.
And yes, good job stepping back to avoid the rocket grab. If he gets pulled in there, it is trouble. Gen G not going to be able to secure another pick for themselves, but still enjoying a 2,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and even if he blows the flash there, it would be super successful Hook. But MNS, he remains cool. He doesn't blow his flash, relies on his dodging skills, is able to dodge out on it. Cloud9 need to slow it down now because Gen G, you really can snowball. Once you get Rift Herald plus First Dragon, there's no response really for your opponents on the map. And with the Kha'Zix being so fed now, it's very problematic since you get Umbral Glaive rushed and the vision starts to just wither away on the map for you. Now Peanut here, level 8 on the Kha'Zix, gets to cruise around, chopping down all of your vision, making every one of your laners that much more frightened.
You know, when you look at the stats for Gen G, usually whenever they end up losing a game, Peanut is often set behind early with a lot of deaths. Right now, that Kha'Zix is 2-0 and 2 with an Umbral Glaive and the next Serrated Dirk already in inventory. He's feeling great about the way this game's going so far. Flash out from Fudge to avoid another death.
Yeah, Serrated Dirk itself is really efficient, even like half item power spike there with the lethality that you're able to load on. And he uses that vision control to go take away a lot of territory for Cloud9. You see Blabber being very hesitant, retaking their red quadrant that was just invaded.
Chovy gets hit with a little bit there from him and has Blabber waiting over the wall just to make sure nothing more happens. As Berserker immediately popping the cleanse of Pays, fires off the Moonlight Vigil. Wild Growth on top of the Cloud9 AD carry as they continue moving forward. Berserker now with a flash to the side as Delight gets away.
So an all-in from the Cloud9 bot lane. They burn a couple summoner spells, but it's Berserker that loses both his Flash and Ghost. Pays with a really good trap placement. It means that Berserker put himself in a bit of a precarious position and he was forced to flash away from the hook. No deaths end up falling, but the 2v2 going slightly in favor of Gen G. No objective on the map right now for them to contest, but with the Herald still alive, Peanut does have the option to funnel that gold into bot. And it looks like that is the direction that they're heading.
And Chovy's got a move window here. He pushed in mid-wave and he's coming down river to try and join the rest of Gen G with that Rift Herald. This thing will definitely at least get the expected value of the crash, and they're trying to get even more here with Pays knocking off a preemptive turret plate.
Exactly. Blabber hovering around from Cloud9's side. They know that Gen G has this Herald. They know that they're looking to invest multiple men in making this play into the most that it can be. This does give M&S at least the opportunity to find the second plate on the tier 1 turret back in mid lane. Doran should be able to at least get his demolish proc, but not enough for the entirety of the 4th plate here in topside. Excellent use of the Bellows Breath just to get out of the way of the charged up Decimating Smash. 30 seconds left on the clock until the plates fall, and Gen G has just been mining money off of them.
Yeah, a lot of Gen G's money is toward the top half of the map, and concentrated gold is what you want towards AD carry, so if they could get some switch here with the recall, they pull up Pays and Delight, swap them over towards the remnants of that topside turret. And turret plates are about to drop, so then the defenses of the towers get a lot weaker for the outer towers.
Some of the problems that C9 are going to have to find ways around as they enter the mid game is sending Syndra off to a side lane is never ideal. She's very vulnerable on these side lanes due to her limited mobility. Of course, the flash is available on M&S. Right now, they are moving her from mid into top as C9 have spotted a potential play. They see Pays and Delight in a position that could force them to overextend given the state of the wave, but they respect that and they will play safe for now.
And look at the wave on bottom side. Fudge, that stop right there for Pays means Fudge is going to lose even more on bottom side. This whole time, Doran is demolishing this turret, and he's going to be able to finish it off. So no response here possible for Cloud9. That is going to be a big, big win for Gen G. With the swap over, Cloud9 have 5 members on the top side. They can't keep their defenses up.
And it's Korean macro, where whenever you enter these mid-game lane assignments, their awareness of where to be on the map is always extremely strong. And this is just a great example of it. While C9 overcommit 5 members to the top side, Gen G find a window and they punish by securing a tower on bot. Now Gen G and now Peanut and Doran are working together to steal what they can.
Now you have to be a little careful because talking about your windows there, Vedis, now you've got 20 seconds before Dragon. So you recall your top side for Gen G. You saw Pays and Delight finishing their channels of the recalls on top side. They don't overstay or greed for that top turret. Gen G know we have control of the entire map. We should not be giving anything.
So smart.
Anything to Cloud9. So they recall, they get back in time for the Dragon. They should effortlessly be able to pick this objective up as well.
So as you can see as well, C9, they're trying to recall, then those recalls even get interrupted, so the potential of a contest completely disappears. Just well executed map play right now from Gen G. 2 Dragons up. The Herald is available, and this is a window where C9 could look to try and contest it, but the problem that they have is that there is little to no vision on that side of the map. Even though C9 committed 5 members up towards top, they didn't actually cross-map for anything, and it still means that Gen G hold all that vision and can still look for a contest around this neutral.
Not only do they hold all the vision, they hold a 4,000 gold advantage. 16 minutes into the game is a serious edge over their opponents. Both AD carries sitting on the Gale Force with the completed Berserker's Greaves. Eclipse now done on the Kha'Zix for Peanut. Blabber a little far forward here in the river, and when they see the enemy jungler, Gen G wastes no time. Blabber's splattered, and that's Gen G getting even more money for their AD carry. They send the rest of Cloud9 running, and just when you thought C9 might have been able to try to contest for a neutral objective, Gen G sit them right back down.
Oh, no, no, no. This Summoner's Rift is ruled by Gen G. They chased them right off this Rift Herald. Blabber immediately deleted.
You have to question the logic there from Blabber, trying to contest the river that he doesn't have any control over, knowing that Peanut has just reset on the map. Like, he also went in alone. They didn't have the push in top. And C9, they tried to enter a space that did not belong to them, and Gen G is a team that will punish you whenever you try to enter a space that does not belong to you.
Yeah, when Gen G have snowballed so effectively here in the early game, off of those kills, off of those first couple of objectives, they're the team running double hooks. So they have full vision control with double hooks ready around every one of these neutral objectives. And even though it's only Rift Herald #2, they're not going to let you step up to anything because they shouldn't. And this is what you want to look at with this team, Gen G. They're so good at sticking to their game plan. Once they get this lead, they won't allow you to trade objectives on the other side of the map. They want to deny every possible one by getting there first and using that fog of war to full effectiveness.
And look at how Gen G continued to keep the pressure up. They know that they can push this Herald into the next tower. Chovy and Delight walk up as that double hook threat that you were talking about. C9 is going to be forced back. The TP flank comes in from the Scion.
C9 looking like they might have found their one final Hail Mary to stop this, but Blabber's already been engaged on by the entirety of Gen G. Plunges into the back line, but the damage is already poured in, and Cloud9's lost 2 men. They lose the jungle, they lose the AD carry, they lose the top laner, they lose the turret. They've lost everything, and Gen G didn't break a sweat. Fudge's dead body walks around a couple of feet before he falls over, and Gen G turned the war machine towards top.
Gen G just stands strong in the face of Cloud9, knowing that there is a massive wallet gap between the two teams. Cloud9 recognized, hey, there's a great flank window here. Maybe we can get the team fight that we've been looking for. Maybe we can swing this game back in our favor. But as the engage comes through, the target focus is so good. Paze's positioning is clean. He can keep freely hitting onto the front line as Berserker just gets chain CC'd by Doran, allowing Paze to get that execution with the ultimate and then just run down C9.
Meanwhile, bottom side, nice. M&S grabbing a solo kill on Doran. It is a small drop in an ocean that Cloud9 has to swim through to come back. But now M&S has to be careful. Gen G not going to be able to get one back.
All right, they're on the board. Count it again. That's one for M&S. He's able to at least pick down a straggler. The small opening left there as he takes down Doran. But it doesn't really change the way that Gen G are going to play this game at all. You've already got 40 seconds here on Baron spawn, and they can easily just replicate what they did before. Switch everybody up to the top side of the map. Cloud9 are trying to jump on that window they just got, though, with the pick from M&S. They overload top side, see if they can get an objective bounty for a bit of extra comeback gold.
The problem for Cloud9 when it comes to securing these outer objectives is there's a window here, but Gen G are going to quickly push this in and then move into the top side jungle as they catch that wave, and this can set them nicely up for the dragon that's soon to spawn. Notice how they push this bot wave in. Paze is going to move into the bot side jungle, and it's because C9 are moving to the objective rather than getting that mid control first, and it's because they don't have that ability to contest that wave that Gen G, it's so much easier for them to play around the map. He's not even threatening a Baron here, as Paze will chip away this bot tier 2.
See Gen G backing away now as the wave is thinned out. Baron alive on the map, the Drake spawning in under 30 seconds. Both Drakes that have spawned so far have been controlled by Gen G.
All you have to have is one person to tank the Baron. So if Baron attacks you, then it puts that debuff on you. They want Doran closer to the Baron so that the full DPS from Peanut can come out, but Cloud9 sniffing it out here.
C9 wise to what Gen G was up to. They are going to stop them from being able to sneak that free Baron very, very early here. 20.5 minutes on the clock, and C9 just feel entirely choked out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it costs Gen G almost nothing to go for these attempts and just check Cloud9. Hey, are you still awake here? Are you going to come check this? Because they can infinitely take it, basically, with Doran, and they know they have the entire other side of the map fully controlled. Look at that jungle leading up to Dragon. It is fully lit up by control wards. They also have both lanes pushing here, so they easily pick up Dragon #3.
The beauty of the play was that, as you rightly said, by only committing 2 members to the Baron, it meant that C9 committed 5. They almost overcorrected at the potential steal, which means that guess what? Mid still uncontested. Paze pushes that one in. Bot uncontested. Chovy pushes that one in. So even if C9 wanted to try and take advantage of, oh, you sent your jungler to Baron, we'll cross map for Dragon, they can't do that because they don't have the lane states to be able to find that opportunity.
And guess what? We mentioned the double hook comp here for Gen G. Well, they're going to get a flash out of M&S first on the side lane.
We'll sidestep.
What you can do with this comp is then turn so much effort towards the back of the Baron area, this red quadrant of the jungle. As long as you clear that out of wards, you have the Ornn ultimate, the Nautilus, plus the Blitzcrank to all look for turns off of Baron. So you just start it up, you look for picks on Cloud9, you don't have to overcommit to anything, and you just fish for extra kills over here. Now you see the resets for Gen.G. As long as they don't get caught here while Chovy and Peanut are heading over to the rest of the area, then they can get right back to their game plan.
Pays back in the base right now. Phantom Dancer completed, has the last Whisper in inventory for some extra armor penetration as well. Once the Jinx arrives up here into the top side, I will fully expect these guys to be looking for another full-on fight. Doran, you can see, just sort of totally fine with this. He doesn't care who he's staring down. He knows he's tanky. He knows they can't engage on him in any sort of meaningful way. Now Delight will be the next one moving up to join this area. Doran's sweeper does reveal a silhouette in the brush, but the recall completes before anything can be done with it. Peanut, again, just getting so much value out of this Umbral Glaive. The vision score discrepancy between junglers, 59 versus 29. Peanut has been owning the vision game, and Gen.G have been owning the map. Now with the Baron down to 5,000, they're going to fire off Doran's ulti. They find the knock up there. Back in the pit, Blabber's already down. There will be no steal today. The smite will come down in just a second, and there it is. Gen.G Baron, 23 minutes in.
Look at that control. Teleporting behind MNS, no flash on him.
Gonna try to get away from this one. Peanut's gonna lead the charge as the depth charge seals his fate. Peanut grabs the kill, and Fudge has to flash just to make sure he doesn't go with them. Gen.G continuing the push. They've got everybody up here on the top side, and the tier 2 turret evaporates in front of their eyes. They'll continue with these last couple of minions, pushing into the Cloud9 base. Blabber's gonna be back in 2 seconds, but MNS is still dead for another 30. Gen.G are not slowing down. Peanut will continue just poking at Cloud9, slowing them down with the rockets as Pays can put the damage into the inhibitor. Delight gonna be just zoning everybody away there. Goes for the hook onto the main tanky target, but it don't even matter. Gen.G are so far ahead. There's no meaningful damage from Cloud9. Fudge slowly being worn away here by these auto attacks. Gen.G running a little bit low on health bars. Got to be careful about this. They're gonna decide to back it off for now. Discretion is the better part of valor. Gen.G will back away, take the red buff and whatever else they might be able to find in the jungle as they leave. Reset and spin that gold.
I mean, it's just flawless execution all across the board from Gen.G. They make it look clinical in how they play the map, and MNS, they know that he has no flash. They commit 5 members to the top side with the chain CC. Really, with only 2 members, it's enough to find that execution. They overstack on the top side, knowing that with a small minion wave, they need to keep that push going. They take the tier 3 in top lane, and they'll be happy with that. Now, as they move back out onto the map, they'll likely set up a 4-1 split. You can already see Doran pushing in this mid wave. They'll likely keep him hovering around this lane. He has the TP available, as they then send Chovy and Pays to keep this bot push and slowly start to chip away more at the base, waiting for the dragon to spawn.
And for Cloud9's side, down almost 10,000 gold and 3 dragons. They're just hoping for some opening here for Gen.G. For Gen.G to get a little bit too overzealous. Problem is, this team is so controlled. You know, they always stick to their game plan. Now they're gonna siege up here with the Baron buff, fish for a few hooks, but honestly, dragon up, and it's a soul in 45 seconds.
Yeah, anything shy of the 80 carry, Gale forcing forwards into 5 people. It's going to be hard for C9 to come back into this one. Another pull from Delight finds Fudge. Normally the Scion's not the target you're looking for, but they're just so far ahead. Wild Growth is forced out. Fudge at half HP. Doran and Peanut switch their aggro back over to the tier 3 in mid lane. They'll bring that one down with the help of the minions. Cloud9 just pulled back and forth, not able to keep all these structures standing.
Yeah, Gen.G. Already almost 4.5K that Baron power play as Blabber gets a little bit of damage onto Doran, gets right back to the turret.
All right, Call the Forge God flies out, but it doesn't hit a whole lot of anything. Now you've got Doran here on the front line, gonna be taken very low. He dies, but they get the tier 3 turret there. Cloud9 trading a structure for the enemy top laner. Now Chovy's in the middle of everybody. The Nautilus will be the front line as Pays starts free firing into Fudge. Berserker's coming around from behind, trying to find a little bit more damage as Blabber is zoned away by Peanut back in the mid lane. Chovy just continues frontlining and Page continues firing. It's Fudge next for the guillotine as everybody on Cloud9's heads will roll. Chovy gets the kill on Berserker. Gen.G's marching it straight into the Nexus.
and Cloud9 have crumbled.
Yep, Chovy's got teleport. He was thinking about recalling, teleporting back in on Nexus turrets, but he's just gonna stick around and do it now.
There's nothing more C9 can do to defend this one. Gen G were too mean, too clean, and they are not messing around. They'll see if they might be able to grab one more kill here. There's the pull. Peanut goes on a rampage, and Gen G goes up 1-0.
Clinical execution from Gen G. The fact that Berserker was finding these advantages in the bot lane 2v2 was promising, but frankly, Gen G just played the map flawlessly. There was no opportunity for C9 to ever get that fair front-to-back 5v5 team fight. The one opportunity that they found, the gold gap was already so big that it just did not matter. Clean execution from Gen G and demonstrating their macro dominance on the international stage.
Yeah, Gen G actually attacking top side and off of the small timer, start up that Rift Herald. Rift Herald fights are such big swings. It has so much gold in it now, plus the tower destroying power, that when you're running a snowbally double hook comp here with so much engage, they got all of that gold off the Rift Herald fight and just destroyed all of Cloud9's defenses.
But I think it was also a matter of Gen G getting every early game objective did not go in C9's favor. Like, they weren't cross-mapping, they weren't really trading anything else on the map. It felt like that they were looking for opportunities, and Gen G just wasn't giving them as many as they were hoping to find.
Gen G got those objectives early. They translated it into a swift victory. And to break it all down in game one, let's head back over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, and I think we'll throw up the post-game breakdown because it'll tell the whole story as you also summarized it there. It was really a stomp out of the side from Gen G, Maurits, as we have our dad Gaio leader again.
We gotta bring back.
Gotta
I'm
move
sorry,
it.
Peanut. I'm sorry for not believing in you. We'll put you over here.
Yeah, I mean, it was
He's dead.
Where you belong.
Let's just dead over here.
He's just laying over there.
be able
That's
to read it at
unfortunate.
least.
That's unfortunate. I mean, he can probably, yeah. We will change it if it changes, but it didn't in this game. Let's take a look at the...
This is just a moment in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't
It's a
mean it's there
snapshot.
forever.
In this
Just
game,
a quick little
yeah.
picture.
Yeah, quick little picture, just like our post-game breakdown. Because, chat, you know, it's... You will see it there, but when it rains, it pours, as Kobe put so aptly.
yeah.
But Gen G just knows how to drive an advantage home.
Absolutely, and I feel like they took no risks here in terms of, I mean, so the one risk they took is that they're not going to get blown out early game because they made sure that they could deny all the vision, they made sure they had a hyper carry, they made sure they had amazing engage for when they got a lead, and then they didn't take any unnecessary risks and still won in 27 minutes.
And this is something that Gen G have done so many times and why many teams desperately try to get them under control early game. When it comes to taking an advantage, they might not be as explosive as T1, a team that the moment they feel like they have lead will just dive and dive and dive and flip at Baron. But for Gen G, it comes through something that's much harder to take down, which is vision denial and consistent macro plays across the map. So you just fall behind in gold and you never get an angle back into the game.
Well, and that's why this one felt like it went off the rails so quickly.
Yeah.
You can tell Cloud9 were trying to be a little bit tricky. Like, they're showing the Scion dive bot draft, but then they're not doing it. They're hoping that blabber can do this bot side invade and get an advantage over Peanut, but he gets nothing from there. Then they get double crab. Then they lose Herald, they lose Dragon. They start losing everything. And that disastrous Herald fight, and you pretty much at that point, you're like, oh, the game is actually over here, and we're about 10 minutes in, 9 minutes in.
I remember saying yesterday when we watched the series, close but no cigar, and then the other team just completely kills it. I do think we need to have a little bit of a conversation about unforced errors, though, as well on the side of Cloud9.
I think so. I think there were definitely moments like after they had lost the Rift Herald fight, Sven just kind of moves his way in, ends up getting hooked. Fudge in the top lane, ulting to try and escape. That didn't work. Flashing early before the mini wave's there so that the turret starts hitting him. Also, a bit of an iffy. And for the draft, it's not necessarily an error. I don't think the draft is to blame. Like, there's many drafts that could have lost this game for Cloud9. But if they're playing confident NA C9 League of Legends, that Scion that they picked on 3 is Silas 100% of the time. Because they were sure the Nautilus was going mid, and what they did in draft in North America was they see the other team pick a champion, they counterpick it. And all they tried to do is win all 3 lanes, and then they'd be good enough to close. That is not what their strategy was here. I think there's a number of reasons for that. Maybe they don't think they can outlane Gen G, et cetera, et cetera. But I still can see that they are not themselves when they're drafting like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tough, right? You know, the reality is this is going to be a very big uphill battle, so everyone has to be playing at their absolute best. I think there was some good individual performances in this one. To me, M&S and Berserker, I think were actually playing pretty well individually, but the team was clearly very outmatched. This one was just messy. Like, I'm not really sure why he was proxying anyway. Then he knows Chovy's coming up, and one of the biggest problems is he has Bommy's Cinder here, so he can't actually walk past Dorian through the tower because he'll pull aggro with the Bommy. So he tries to do this ult out, it gets flashed on, then he tries to early flash, but the minions aren't there yet, and he's not going to be able to walk past them because he would pull aggro with the AoE. And then it just became, you know, over and over and over. He has no vision in the river, he's pushed up. Everything started to really kind of fall off the rails pretty quickly for Fudge.
Yeah, it did, and Gen G, they saw their opportunity and they kept going there a couple of times, and we were talking about the fact that you were saying they are really good at killing games and they will not make any mistakes actually usually, and the thing is, I don't feel like they even had to, because even if they did, they had a backup hook, they had all the damage, they had the gold advantage.
Yeah, and shout out as well to Gen G for kind of pulling a bait and switch with putting Doran on a tank. They actually have given him so much more attention this tournament than they have for basically the entirety of the LCK, right? Like, they never played around him. He got stuck with blind pick every single time, and it's really interesting to see Peanut actually perform on a carry. This is something that he hasn't done for the longest time. Being in this way and really snowball as that Kha'Zix was a really big reason for, with the Umberglaive, why C9 could have come back.
I have a counterpoint.
Hit me.
I don't think Gen G was playing around top lane. I think Peanut was playing around himself, and he knew where he could get going. Because literally he ganked once in the freest kill with no flash.
It's the jungle camp, his top lane.
Yeah.
Exactly. Doran did well, but I think Peanut was playing like Peanut.
Okay, it was also our Mercedes-Benz featured matchup, and it was really good for Peanut. Also, he hasn't played Kha'Zix since 2018, so what a moment to pull it out. We were talking so much about how this is going to be obviously a lot about bot lane, but also it starts with the jungle, but then let's talk about that bot lane. We saw similarly to yesterday in the first game, actually, a Jinx Blitz versus an Aphelios Lulu, and actually in lane, things were looking all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Sven on Enchanters, I think, is absolute comfort for him. You know, I do think he can play the engaged stuff, but he really kind of has made his money playing Enchanters. You know, that is where I think he's absolute comfort. I've had no problems with C9 drafts throughout the entire tournament. It's been all about execution for me. You know, I do think, you know, maybe they would have gone for something like a Sylas, but their draft in a vacuum, I think, was really solid. You had absolute comfort through bot. I think you have a winning 2v2 as long as you're dodging those hooks and being able to push. Blabber has Poppy, which is a big playmaker. So it's a lot of the signatures of a winning C9 draft. But Gen G just executes so damn well, and at this point, it was really just about the cleanup. They were already monstrously ahead, and as you said so many times, Maurice, this is a team that is the most consistent LCK team. They are not going to fumble a lead.
And of course, they've also been watching this tournament, and they've seen many, many times that a gold advantage is taken away in a late game team fight. But something tells me that they're not as worried today about that.
No, I think Peanut put it best himself when he was like, yeah, you know, it's a shame we're meeting them in the lower bracket, and it's also a shame that they're going to lose. It shows the confidence that Gen G have.
Okay, C9 picked blue. Azale, what did they do?
Oh, God. I mean, honestly, I kind of liked what their draft was in the first game. I think the reality is they just have to execute better. Blabber needs to have a stronger performance if they're not going to get ran over early. They need to be able to contest objectives. They can't be getting double grabbed. Got to see them have a better performance.
Alrighty, business as usual for Gen G so far in Game 1, and C9 really need to defy expectations here to bounce back in the series. We'll be right back with Game 2.
Like gonna see if he can find a rocket grab. And Sven pulled in the damage, finding its way onto the Cloud9 support, but he stays alive! Berserker's got pays! Berserker's got paid!
Pays his ultimate is really what swung in favor of Gen G. The hook connects!
Sven, what are you doing there? But Blabber's already been engaged on by the entirety of Gen G. Plunges into the back line, but the damage is already poured in, and Cloud9's lost 2 men! They lose the jungle, they lose the AD carry, they lose the top laner, they lose the turret! They've lost everything! Get it!
New and existing customers can choose the phone they want, like the incredible iPhone 14 on us.
Not to brag, but I'm on Verizon now. And I got to choose the phone I wanted for free.
Not that you're bragging.
Choose the phone you want on us. Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The monsters attack, it's the championship. Spatula-Fallopians, it's time to finish this. Season up with a monster cook-off. Monster slice, dice, and synergize for a taste of that spicy prize. Superhero squads going up to the chase, cooking up the meta with fresh flavor and taste. Chop, 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 all the way to the top. Where to go, the spatula is right there to be cupped. Feast your eyes and delight your minds on the best comp fries you could ever find. Monsters attack. Watch with a pack. Monsters attack. Get back with a snack. It's the TFT Monsters Attack Championship. We in the same, ain't no debate. Cold rules are meant to break by the proudest ones. Get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MSI 2023 and this best of 5 bout between Gen G and C9. Game number 1 was not much of a contest as Gen G showed up early and kept things rolling all the way to an early Nexus. Now in game 2, we got to see if C9 can bounce back.
That's where we failed. We should have kept them from showing up.
The most effective strategy,
Yes.
prevent them from playing at all. I would really like to see C9 just contest more neutrals in the early game. Ideally, they play through mid. That is such an important lane to find advantages in. And
Ooh, we banned the Lulu from blue side. Maokai's still floating around, so a bunch of power picks here to trade.
So a couple things I want to immediately point out. Remember, C9 and Gen G swapping sides for this one. Like you just said, that Lulu's banned away, Ahri banned away, just like it was last time in the first phase. Gen G back to banning Nautilus. Remember, game number 1 of this series was the first time in the tournament that Gen G hadn't banned the pick. They played it, they have a 100% win rate on it, now they're back to banning it away.
so the risk you now have is, do you lock in Aphelios and then give away Cassante Jinx, or do you guarantee the Cassante for yourself at the risk of giving away the Aphelios? And the answer to that is, we want the Cassante, we'll take the Jinx trade in this match.
Honestly, I agree too.
Oh, I love this from Gen G. So far at this MSI, we have not seen Pays play the Xayah, but career-wide, this is definitely something he's very comfortable on.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look. How aggro do we want to get with it? Berserker did have a Draven game in the LCS that completely popped off. Toying with our hearts right now, trying to mix up this AD carry meta that has been the same. Okay, we at least get some excitement here. The Lucian-Nami duo. Very aggressive here. Trying to play off of that one item power spike. We saw a lot of these LPL AD carries playing it so effectively in the mid game. And that's where a lot of this value was missing in both North America and Europe when teams ran this duo, is trying to take advantage of that window where you just got Gale Force, you just got the mandate, and you have so much burst potential. Culling's continuously used to chunk people off and really trying to gain some momentum there for the mid-game objectives.
And the final pick of the first half of the draft for Gen G will be the Wukong. This is the only champion Peanut has played more than once so far in the tournament. 3 plays already. The man is ferocious on it. And now we're going to see how the second half of the bans go through. Remember, both sides already have marksmen, already have supports, but the Cassante versus Wukong means things are not entirely mirrored. Poppy banned out by Gen G. They learned last game that Blabber is more than willing to play this, especially against Rakan and Wukong. The area denial, the engage resistance of that steadfast presence is something that you've got to be respectful of. They're going to take it off the table this time. C9 is saying, okay, you guys definitely didn't live up to the skill check last game. We're going to ban out a champion that can't fail a skill check. Let's get rid of the Malphite, take that off of the table, and one more ban remains for both sides.
I wonder if Gen G will consider something like, I was going to say something like the Kindred, but they are going to look to remove the cannon, some of that team fighting power. Perhaps they believe that with the Malphite ban, that was the direction that C9 was looking for, because remember, this Cassante can be flexed into both mid and top. That is the beauty of this Cassante. And then Gen G, they're going to be forced to lock in either their mid or top now. So something like the Gragas is something that C9 should consider getting rid of, but the Lissandra will actually be removed.
Yep, and I misspoke. It was actually C9 themselves banning away the Malphite. My bad on that one, but that is a powerful engage tool that could go along with the Rakan, with the Wukong drafted by Gen G. Lissandra, also another effective point-and-click engage mechanism, and it'll be Sion drafted next for Gen G.
And that's why Cloud9, they don't even bother banning away that Gwen, even though they have the Cassante, you know, and you're looking at these common picks into it, because they know Gen G want to play that standard with Doran on a tank on the top side and go with the same controlled game plan. It's up to Cloud9 to try and actually upset that this time around.
I mean, I think if the Cassante goes mid, I'm more fine with the Kha'Zix, but I don't love LeBlanc, because there's a real world where Gen G can actually put the Sion mid, and then you just neutralize the impact of the LeBlanc. Very difficult to actually play through that lane early, and then you just match something else on the top side, perhaps another carry, but in terms of damage, oh, hang on a second, are we gonna get to see Chovy's?
The Vex counter here into the LeBlanc. Try and get those fears, pop them out of the dashes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we will. All right, Gen G calling out C9 there. The Vex counter pick versus the LeBlanc. Silver lining on the LeBlanc for Cloud9. This is an undefeated pick for M&S and Cloud9 in LCS Spring here in 2023. So they're going back to comfort. They're saying put him on what he knows, put him on what he's best at, but having to measure up against a counter pick piloted by Chovy is tough.
The thing is, too, with this Vex counter pick, this is not like a slam you into the ground counter pick. You can overwhelm this counter pick with jungle attention. Vex does not have any escapes of her own, so if you bring junglers for early ganks, you can try and abuse the long flash cooldown on this champion and actually help out the LeBlanc a lot, even though if you leave them isolated, then it is kind of annoying.
Career-wise, Chovy doesn't have a huge number of Vex games, but of the 3 that he has, 100% win rate. The man is very successful at pretty much anything that he plays.
Yeah, and if we're talking about win rates, okay, I'll throw out some Xayah stats here for Pays too. He's 70% win rate, so the percentages, yeah, they're not looking great for us, but they've won a lot of games, okay?
All right, so one thing we saw in game number 1 was a focus from Gen G towards that top side, and also a lot of attention on the neutral objectives. If you're Cloud9 and you're trying to bounce back after that speedy victory in game number 1, are you trying to counter that? Are you putting all eggs in the bot lane basket? What's the play?
No, to me, if you're picking LeBlanc and Kha'Zix, you're picking M&S signature champion. Blabber, get to mid lane, gank this Vex, try and take advantage of this champion. Low mobility, burn the flash, get some kills, get M&S to the point where he can actually have some mid lane agency to then go down bottom lane. And then once your LeBlanc is fed, as a jungler, you're so happy because you get a partner in your ganks and you can play off of a Lucianami during their one-item power spike timer.
I mean, this comp from C9 is just much harder to execute than what we saw last game. If we compare game 1 to game 2, game 1 was very much about making sure that you're cross-mapping, moving on the map, correct lane assignments. This one is a lot more about skirmishing, early fights, 2v2s, 3v3s, and that applies to both sides. When you have things like Rakan, Wukong, you have so much agency in the early game to look for picks, even play through mid yourself if you wanted to try and shut down this LeBlanc. That C9, as proactive as they want to be, they have to be cautious that Gen G can very much look to do the same.
Yeah, the comps that want more volatility are always so much more difficult to play. The ones that need to get some execution-based kills, some execution-based plays off to their side. Cloud9 here, sweeping back into their own side of the jungle. M&S goes back, he picks up the sweeper. He gets the golden experience for this, so as far as trying to get LeBlanc some leverage versus the Vex, you get a very tiny bit there. He's on the board, at least for a little bit. But the game plan from Gen G, you can tell they know this as well. That's why they're warding towards the Raptors.
And immediately they go in at level 1. Sven forced to flash back away as Delight goes for the engage. The Xayah Rakan level 1, very powerful with how these champions synergize, and Gen G is not afraid to flex that.
Look at the pathing here from Peanut. He started Raptors into Blabber's blue. He doesn't have prio anywhere. He just has information as to where Blabber started. The fact that he started on the red buff gave him all the information that he needs, that he's doing a full bot side clear. And the question is, how will Blabber respond? Delight taking a lot of damage.
Delight, it's at 200 HP here. Pays about 350 for him. Gen G's bottom lane duo forced back underneath the turret as Cloud9 fights back. All 4 players in this bottom lane still level 1.
And Blabber finishing up Krugs as well here on the Kha'Zix on bottom side. Looks like he might trail through here. Again, you mentioned the information discrepancy between these two teams. Really benefiting Peanut as he was able to counter jungle pretty heavily on that blue quadrant. And the hover here from Blabber is mainly to guard against, if Peanut had done a normal clear, he could be looking at ganking our extended bottom lane, but he's not. So Blabber's going to be very, very sad here on the Kha'Zix, having gone and spent a few seconds to hover bottom lane and protect them, delays his recall, then he'll go find his blue and his Gromp have been taken.
Especially with a flashless Sven, means that bot lane was definitely a lane for Peanut to look for. Overall though, Chovy getting a bit of push in the mid lane. LeBlanc doesn't have the strongest push at early levels, but usually that's where she wants to try and look to trade, but trading against a Vex can be very challenging during the early levels.
And M&S making good use of that sweeper, finds the other ward. That ward is placed because Gen G know after they've been able to kind of push Blabber into this top side. Now he's going to reveal himself as well. He just popped the Scryer's Bloom, so everybody knows exactly where he is. Top and bottom Scuttle Crabs will be traded.
Okay, Peanut will pick that one up down there shortly after Blabber has already finished this one in the top side. Just fires that Scryer's Bloom into the enemy jungle. Sees the Krugs are still up. Decides to go ahead and leap over, farm those up. Doran is dealing with the wave being shoved up underneath his own turret right now. As you can see, the Gen G bot lane has taken their first recall. Berserker and Sven gonna need to now do that themselves after they clear out those last couple of minions. Blabber finishing up the Krug camp here. Fudge and Doran both running pretty low on all resources here. Health bars, mana bars, mostly expended.
Yeah, and I think Blabber here, after he got the information in Scryer's Bloom, he sees the second spawn of Raptors as well. You know, he's not too sad. He knows that Peanut went to do the guarding of his own blue quadrant after the counter jungling, so Blabber will be able to get the Gen G second spawn of Raptors, no problem here.
Chovy's recall interrupted there by M&S, just trying to make these timers as uncomfortable as possible. The wave is still pushing towards M&S, so he is going to need to clear this out, farm this up. Chovy will be able to recall just slightly more delayed than he would have preferred, as Sven cannot stop that wave from being shoved up underneath the turret. But Berserker gets back to lane in time, doesn't even miss that first melee minion, should be able to pick all of these up.
Now, as far as the Kha'Zix goes, the majority of the games now, you're going to want to evolve Q. There are some angles where you really want to take advantage of our ganks, and a Vex mid could be one of those. I still think he's going to evolve Q, but there is an angle to try and R-evolve because then you are into lane.
Oh, they wanted to find the knockup with the grand entrance, but it didn't work. Now Pays is down to 200 HP. Gen G, you can see exactly what they wanted there, but just slightly off with the targeting means Cloud9 ends up smacking him upside the mouth.
Really good trade from Berserker. If he'd had level 4, I wonder if that would have been enough damage to actually at least force a summoner spell out from Pays. They get the Ignite out at the very least, but now Peanut is here to cover. And you can see Chovy on the roam as well. Level 6 on the Vex. Blabber in a position to...
Oh, there we go. That's the grand entrance we're looking for. Sven's called out, and it's Peanut getting the first blood. And Berserker tries to shoot back, but he won't get a whole lot. And Chovy's still following up from the side. Blabber's occupied with the Vex, and C9 are down 0-1.
Yep, even Chovy coming down. Blast code over the top. Gen G going to be able to shove this one in. They strike first. First blood acquired.
Just a good response from Peanut as Pays. He's not too afraid that doesn't force the flash. But yeah, if Blabber was aware that this gank was happening, then he could have been in a position to counter, maybe even threaten Pays on the backline, and then perhaps there's a world where Cloud9 can turn that around. But with Chovy also on the rotation down, had that fight gone any longer, it very much could have been much worse for C9. So while Berserker playing the trades very well, Peanut finding more presence on the map.
All right, on the reset though, after the kills and shoving in the lane, because they're so low, Blabber's going to rotate over to Dragon. And even though he's only level 5, doesn't have his Q evolve on the Dragon, so it'll take a lot longer. They're still going to try and power it down here with the Na'Vi.
Here.
But because, yeah, it is taking so long, Mountain Drake.
Light goes in for the grand entrance. Sven again in trouble. Chovy looking for the kill on the Nami this time as the Drake is secured by the side of Cloud9. And Sven barely escapes. The flash had just come back up off of the cooldown for Sven to get away and not give away a second death.
Yeah. The combination of only being level 5 and it being a Mountain Drake takes a long time. Cloud9, they do sneak out though. As you mentioned, Sven, no summoner spells now. Peanut fishing around to see if they can get anything out of it. And it looks like Cloud9 got away just in the nick of time.
Blabber, that was a little dangerous face checking that brush. He had no support there. And another good trade from Chovy in the mid lane. You can really see how well Vex does into a highly mobile champion like the LeBlanc. But Blabber will now have his top side to clear. And at the end of the day, they walk away with the Dragon. It was a bit risky in terms of the timing, as you highlighted, Kobe, because it was dropping so slowly with no presence from Berserker. It could have been another opportunity for Gen G, but for now, they'll reset back on the map, claim what objectives they can, and the gold largely remains neutral.
All right, Blabber still working towards that level 6. Peanut doing the same, but of course, like you were talking about, Kobe, for the Kha'Zix, it means a whole lot more. Just getting those evolutions, being able to speed up the clear time, being able to have that extra isolated bonus as back in bottom lane. Level 5 versus level 5 all the way around, except for Sven, who's still sitting at level 4 on this Nami, paying the price of losing out on that EXP and everything that he was around before when he dropped, as well as having to go back to base again after nearly being killed for the second time from Chovy's Vex. Both bottom laners continuing the trade as the culling is dropped. Delight eats some of the damage. Berserker wants to maximize it, but doesn't get a whole lot.
Okay, Blabber is level 6 here for the Kazakhs, so try and R in onto Chovy, save your jump for after the fear, after the flash. He did go with the Q evolve, so it's not a super long R.
Yeah, nothing there.
There was a window there, though, with the fear gone from Chovy. I thought that they could perhaps just W in, look for a chain, but instead throws the chain out and it goes wide. The awkward situation right now for both sides is that the Herald is up, but because of the relatively late Dragon start, neither team wanted to send their bot lane up, so there's no support here. It's just a battle between junglers.
Oh, Peanut looking to win this battle very quickly. Blabber gets away over the wall, but a flash follow from Peanut blends the bug, and Gen.G's jungler gets a solo kill at the Herald.
And Blabber tries to sneak it away. He sees that he has the push in top, but he's not expecting Peanut to just come over the wall and fight him. Wukong at level 6 as now Fudge goes in for the fight.
And immediately the fight fizzles. He wanted to go all out there, but just no angle to continue going after Doran, as the Scion just continues taunting him here a little bit.
Yep.
Fudge can't do it.
I mean, Doran doesn't care because his jungler just 100% to 0 won the team fight versus your jungle. He's like, great, you're all out, I've got the jungler.
The leads continue to build now for Gen.G. 2K is nearly the goal difference. A lot of that sitting in the favor of Peanut. After securing that kill, he has a 1,000 gold lead, and there's a bit of a support difference, so perhaps that's not quite most reflective of the actual gold gap, but Peanut was able to get Blabber's number in game 1. He's doing the same thing here in game 2. He finds a successful gank in the bot lane. He secures his team the early Herald, and Gen.G can just continue to take their time. They know that they're accruing small advantages where they can, and ultimately we're looking at this next Dragon before we really see any major action.
Yeah, Gen.G with that 2-0 lead, and with Blabber not being able to get a whole lot done early on in these games, a lot of times when Cloud9 pops off, when Cloud9 is at their best, it's Blabber being one of the huge facilitators, one of the huge drivers of the action on the team, and if he's not feeling it, if he's not in that zone where he can get these things done, if he's not enabled, if he's not playing at his best, then it's difficult for the rest of the team to be able to make the same kinds of movements. Gen.G looking to grab as much damage as they can on this second plate down here on the bottom lane, tier 1 turret. Gonna get it about halfway gone. Still 3 minutes left before those plates fall. That next Drake under 60 seconds. And you can see Peanut in the bot side river here as his bot lane is shoved up, crashing another wave into the turret. He'll be now moving towards mid. Just dashes forward, finds a nice little bit of damage onto M&S. The auto attack follow-ups take the Cloud9 mid laner below half.
Really good damage there from Peanut, just chipping away at M&S. It wasn't even like a hard committed gank, it was just a small trade. And with Blabber on the top side of the map, with so much control from Peanut on the bot side, he may threaten a dive here. Instead, he's just going to commit to Herald.
Yeah, scary stuff for M&S.
And this is just so much pressure right before Dragon comes up. Peanut knows we got to get all of the potion charges out of M&S, get a bunch of damage, get the Rip Trail charge in before Dragon even spawns, and then Gen.G can just rotate over to it. Blabber's here, but M&S is already chunked so low, they don't have real threat, and Gen.G just bully them down.
All this accomplished for Cloud9 was now not only is your mid laner at dangerously low health, so is your jungler, and that mid lane tier 1 turret is going to completely fall before the plates are even gone. Now once again, Fudge tries to go all out, and it's Doran trying to get away from the Cassante. He's not worried at all as he gets back underneath the turret, and you can see Berserker trying to escape from Paze and Delight. He fires the culling back into their backs as they try to retreat, but it's not going to mean a whole lot of consequence here for the Gen.G bot lane. Both top laners down to just a sliver of HP, but nobody's going to die.
The beauty of what we saw, hang on, the action isn't over yet, is Gen.G threatening the dive.
Gen.G bringing down their jungler, their mid laner to go after Berserker. The fear into the spin and the knockup. The damage is true, and Chovy takes the kill. Gen.G's at 3-0, make it 4. Peanut kills Blabber again, and Gen.G are making game 2 even faster than the first time around.
That's some mid-jungle prio if I've ever seen any, Vedius. Bully down mid lane, chunk out both Cloud9's mid and jungle, so much so that they can't even play the map right now for Cloud9. Peanut and Chovy head on down bottom side after completely taking mid turret and chunking them out of the game. Then Berserker, nothing he can do here. Chovy wombo combo.
I mean, so this is the risk of the blind pick LeBlanc, but I didn't think that Gen.G would take advantage of the severe lack of wave clear that LeBlanc has, right? A quick trade from Peanut says, oh, M&S is too low health. Typically, you want to trade health to try and get that priority in lane. Yeah. But after reducing M&S down to 50%, they were like, oh, hang on. She can't wave clear this wave anymore, and we can just keep poking her down at the end of the tower. Chovy landing so many skill shots. You highlighted it as well, Flowers, that they were just getting chipped away, that there was nothing C9 could do to prevent that tower. And the whole tower going down meant that they could very quickly translate to bot, and look at how quickly Gen.G have blown this game open. 5K is now the difference.
And that's why I was trying to reach and look for crazy angles for Cloud9. It's like, all right, well, with this LeBlanc Kha'Zix, you have to do something, you know, to offset the normal pace of the game here, to upset Chovy and Peanut, to gank them earlier, get some sort of variables going here. Otherwise, they get chunked out. And man, after getting 100% to 0 on the Rift Herald, you lose that jungle duel, plus you lose the Rift Herald, and then Gen.G can snowball using the Rift Herald to get Chovy his entire tower, and you're Vex now roaming around threatening these super long-range ultimate kills onto the side lanes. Gen.G once again have complete control of the map.
Not a single winning roll on the Rift for Cloud9 as we hit the 14-minute mark and finally see the turret plates collapse. Everfrost on the Vex, Divine Sunderer on the Wukong, Sunfire Aegis on the Scion, Gale Force for the Xayah as well. You can see Berserker's Lucian at least has his Gale Force completed, but one of the bigger differences in gold on that chart, the third highest was actually in the support role, plus 700. So Sven still not with his first item completed, means the Lucian Nami power spike is still waiting to come online, and even once it does, 5,000 gold. I know Lucian Nami is strong, but this is a serious problem for Cloud9.
I think the idea behind Lucian is that by running first strike and basically just trading a lot in lane, you can get towards that first item spike slightly earlier, right? You just get that slightly additional bit of gold injection, and if you get that early Herald as well, it means that you can further funnel that gold, and it's really at that like 2-item spike where Lucian can do so much work on the map. So if you stop that or slow it down dramatically and you're just staying on par with the Lucian as you enter the mid game, it becomes a lot harder to execute that. And Gen.G doing just that. Look, they're going to convert this into a tier 1 tower as well. They're going to secure themselves the Rift Herald after swapping their bot lane up to top. They're then going to assign their bot lane to mid, so they're going to keep this mid control, and by unlocking the top tower, it gives them complete access into the enemy jungle.
We're just adding another "and" to the sentence over and over again. Gen.G is doing the top lane tier 1 and the Herald, and Peanut is forcing M&S out of his own jungle, and they've got better position around the map, and they've got better vision. Cloud9 is struggling to find any sort of a foothold here in this game, as Delight does get found out here in the enemy jungle. Berserker would have needed a couple more hits from that culling to kill him.
Cutting it a little close, but in the dark, he chooses up, Delight goes bottom. So no blood lost here for Gen.G. Honestly, it's just so hard now for Cloud9 to play the game. They have to start looking for those, you know, fog of war, sneak into the brush, everybody trailing someone else on a side lane, surprise plays, because Gen.G have such control out of taking mid tower. If you ever have this happen that early into the game, and you've been in one of those games, it just feels so difficult because your mid lane is kind of a black hole here, and it's so vulnerable. Peanut might as well rename Wukong's staff to Bug Splat Stick, because if he ever finds Blabber, that's what's going to happen. 100% to 0, lays it down on him.
It's a situation where I think that when C9 played against Golden Guardians in that game 4, and they brought out the Varus, Heimerdinger, and Nidalee, where they were just like leveraging Prio to really snowball the early game. I feel like that's the best approach you can take against a team like C9. And Kobe was talking about it in the draft. If you're running LeBlanc Kha'Zix, that's the concept behind this, right? That you can create that Prio, you can create those advantages. But if you're just going to play a stock standard meta, laning macro game, Gen.G is like the best team in the world at playing that style.
Those are two assassins. You got to do some crazy stuff. That's why I'm like, okay, you know what? Even though 90% are Q evolves, do something crazy. Chovy here, now he's in enemy territory, chasing them out. And what we just saw on screen is what I'm talking about. When your mid tower's gone like that, you know, Peanut's taking away your Raptors. You got these Gen.G players lurking around in Fog of War, and Cloud9 trying to desperately get some territory back for themselves. They've done it here. They chased them out. They've got zombies wards up, dragon coming. Even though they're pretty far behind in gold. They're looking for an angle.
Unfortunately, M&S's little bit of spells there can't even break the shield of the Gen.G top laner. And with that Drake alive on the Rift now, you have to assume Gen.G is just going to force Cloud9 back. It's so difficult for C9 to do anything in neutral territory, especially when your jungler's already dead. Chovy goes in and they find the kill with the help of Peanut, and they're going to make it 2 immediately. The kill onto the Nami. Another one comes through. The Cassante is down. Pays gets the kill, and Berserker runs for his life. The corrupting potion burns him away, and Gen.G wastes no time.
Gen.G slaughter Cloud9 on the Rift. A single pick onto Blabber results in 4 dead. The Herald as well doing so much damage. There's no way they're going for more.
They try to find a little bit more damage onto M&S. He returns fire towards Chovy. With only the mid laner and the support, they cannot guarantee the final kill towards Cloud9 there. But Gen.G, 8-0. These team fights are just slaughters.
This is brutal, gentlemen. I don't know if I can watch this. It's so painful. Cloud9 getting stomped here. All right, fishing around.
Is he gonna go for this?
Just keep your bait out of the water. Just go back to the boat.
When we get the replay, you're just going to notice that the most impressive thing about that play was the reaction speed from Chovy. Flash, W, fear. Just keep your eyes on Chovy in this play and just watch how the second Blabber oversteps, Flash in, applies the fear, doesn't give him an opportunity, even interrupts the jump, and he's just chain CC'd. The moment that he's gone, this then engaged from Delight, the flash into knockup with the ultimate, and then the reset on Chovy's ult as well.
Yeah.
Means that it's just execution into execution. And we saw this in game 1. C9 never really got an even fight, and it's the same thing here in game 2.
Chovy sniping all 3 ultimates there off the resets, and Gen.G starting up Baron.
10,000 gold ahead already. Cloud9 knows they can't afford to give this away. It's going to be a snowball's chance in hell, but it's time to see if they can try to stop these guys. Gen.G with total control over the top side of the river. C9 at least has Scuttle Crab vision. That's about the only silver lining in this situation because it can't be removed by the side of Gen.G, as Chovy and Peanut will again lead the charge, looking for these picks, looking for any opportunity to explode the Cloud9 health bars. Chovy fires off a couple of spells. None of those are going to land, but the important thing is Gen.G has reclaimed this territory, this topside jungle of Cloud9.
But the important thing to note is, again, how Gen.G always play through their lanes first. They catch mid, push that in. They caught top and they push that in. They cleared out the jungle, and then they make it impossible for C9 to enter once again. They move back to the Baron, and they force C9 into this very awkward position.
Okay, eyes on Delight here on the Rakan. Has ultimate, has Hex Flash.
Sion engaged coming out as Doran leads the charge. Not going to find the engage onto anybody in particular, but now he's soaking the damage out of everyone. Gen.G not finding that coherent engage they were looking for, but now they're just going to chase after Cloud9 with their advantage. Vex ulti goes wide. Peanut wants to find the knockup, but he's only found it on Fudge. M&S goes back in and he finds Delight before the quickness can ever be deployed. Chovy's going to be killed now next. Blabber grabs the kill, and Fudge tries to walk away. Peanut goes on a rampage, at least making it a 1-for-2. But Gen.G have lost the fight.
Cloud9, they get 2 shutdowns here. It is on Chovy, it is on Delight. They take away some of the control for Gen.G. As Gen.G, they split up the fight there in Cloud9. They finally attack, they finally see an opening, and they jump for it. M&S on the LeBlanc goes in, Berserker following.
Gen.G definitely got a little desperate there in that execution. You can see that they were just kind of throwing a lot of ultimates out, and the second that the flank from Delight was spotted out by Fudge, it became a lot harder for Gen.G to actually turn and fight. They will still walk away with the tier 2 tower. I feel like that there was a window there for C9 to actually threaten the Baron themselves, but they don't want to take the gamble. They will get some vision back as Delight immediately moves back out onto the map, but a small window for C9. They get their first set of kills in this game. The goal difference still gargantuan as 9,000 separates the teams.
And they've got 3 stacks on the Medjais for M&S. Is looking for the comeback play. This is kind of the mentality that you have to have though when you're so far behind like this. You have to put all of your eggs in a big comeback attempt, try and snowball off of something. So they're hoping if they can get a little bit, then they want to make the most out of a little opening like that, stack up some Medjai's pages maybe, and hopefully Gen.G will give you an opportunity.
You don't realize how overextended you are, and Gen.G...
It's Cassante though, remember that.
I mean, true. Actually, he is going to walk away from this one. I thought that he would get collapsed on a little bit quicker, but this fog of war, observers are highlighting it for us. Gen.G attack.
Why attack Cassante when you can just instantly kill the Lucian instead? Gen.G pick off the enemy AD carry, and it's right next to the inhibitor turret in mid lane. They'll knock that one down, no Baron required. They'll take the inhibitor with it, and they'll keep marching forwards. They've already got more waves pushing up down here in the bottom side. They can try to rotate over for a second inhibitor turret now, as C9 still has 15 seconds before their marksman's back on the map. Gen.G just completely bulldozing these structures. Inhibitor down mid, inhibitor down bot. Gen.G exfiltrates with no problem.
It was a smart angle from Gen.G because they know Cloud9 are so worried about keeping vision on Baron.
Exactly.
But Gen.G don't need Baron to break inside your base. They can break inside your base with pure gold, the advantage that they have. And so they go in through this little angle here, cut back behind Berserker. They don't go after the Cassante because we've all seen Cassante escape with the multiple dashes from so many of these picks, and they get the easier and more valuable target.
Look at the positioning on the map right now for Gen.G. They have Wukong in mid, they have the Sion on what looks to be a very
Desperation
deep
Baron, here we go!
Yep, it's a YOLO play from Cloud9. You only live once, they might not be living very long. C9 barely doing any damage to the Baron, just trying to get Gen.G to come over here. MNS dashes forward, immediately has to revert the distortion, and now C9's looking for the angle as Fudge goes over the wall, but Sven's under pressure. Peanut into the back line, already finding the kill on the Nami. Blabber barely escapes as Fudge is all the way off in no man's land. They've lost their jungler, they've lost their support, and Cloud9 is on the run. A teleport comes in, and Peanut wastes no time jumping right back onto Berserker. Pays with the flash over the wall aggressively. Berserker stands still and accepts death, and Chovy's happy to deliver. MNS tries to get back to the base. He and Fudge are the only ones still standing, and the Gen.G pain train is coming straight for the Nexus turrets. They got super minions escorting them in. Nexus turrets, say goodbye. Cloud9, they've got a couple of guys left trying to defend, but the Nexus is open, and Gen.G's ready to wrap this one up real fast. They find another kill, and Cloud9's got nothing they can really do. It might have only been a LeBlanc clone, but the real one won't do much more. Gen.G's going to match point.
A desperation Baron from Cloud9. They saw the position that they were in. There was little that they could do to turn that game around. So they went for a last-ditch attempt, a last-ditch fight. And Gen.G, well, Peanut did it single-handedly. He dived onto the back line, killed the support, kept Berserker out of the fight completely, and then it was just cleanup. Complete dominance from Gen.G, and Peanut with a masterclass jungle performance once again.
He truly did make great use of the bug splat stick.
That he did.
We saw that bug splat many times throughout this game. Gen.G, yeah, complete dominance.
And that dominance started with that bug getting splatted up there at that Herald. The solo kill in the jungle got Peanut rolling. And honestly, he's just been outplaying Blabber so far in the first couple of games in this series. Cloud9 have not been able to get any sort of foundation to play from in either one of these first two games. And Gen.G just seems completely built different.
It's the fact that Gen.G have very reliable laners. You can clearly see that they're a very difficult unit to pick apart, and they just play around their lanes so well in terms of priority and objective setup. And this is something that C9 just can't seem to match. They either need to create chaos and start snowballing these early lanes in the same way they did against GG in Game 4, or they need to find a way to play the map better, because right now Gen.G is just running circles around them.
That's why I'm in the mentality of do something crazy. Just do something crazy, see what happens.
Well, Cloud9's going to need something different to be able to strike back. But to break down how Gen.G brought themselves to match point, let's head back over to the analyst desk.
Thank you so much. And for Gen.G, it's just keep doing what you're doing, because clearly it's working. And we got to remember that Gen.G did step into, I want to say, this series and is going to in the rest of this tournament with a chip on their shoulders from that match that they lost against T1. They want to clear up all those mistakes. They want to show that they are worthy of performing on the international stage. And I think that this is just a roadblock on the way to what they really want to show.
Yeah, because there are expectations that come with being the #1 seed from the LCK, right? And already getting knocked out, even given the history between the two teams, in particular, T1 taking them down, is something that Gen.G does not want to let stand. And This is effectively the same gold graph. It just from start to finish is pure dominance from Gen G.
I mean, you really couldn't ask for anything more from Gen G.
I could.
Well, you won't get it because this is about as fast as you can stomp a team. I mean, it's like back-to-back games. They are absolutely dominating. I felt like both games were truly over by about 10 minutes. You know, yes, it did take Gen G a bit to actually close the game out, but this is absolute domination.
I'll bite.
Peanut has been incredible.
I'll bite. What do you want?
Chucks. So yesterday, there was a game 2 that was going to put the series to 2-0, where a team had a massive lead. And what did Elk do? He gave us an entertaining series. He decided to step forward in 4 people. Why doesn't Gen G do this? Why does Gen G hate fun?
Wow. It's doing me like, no. Are you not appreciating this?
Why are they not popular?
This is a masterclass. It's from start to finish.
You want to see
How can't you appreciate this?
They're literally too good to be entertaining. That's what it feels like. This
wow,
is so
suffering
depressing.
from success. I see how it is.
That's DJ
Counterpoint, the T1 Gen G series was very entertaining.
That's true.
True. You gotta play to the level of your opposition.
To be fair here, it's more that we are too bad for this to be entertaining.
I'm a little emotional. But
I can see that.
Chronicler and I were watching this, and this is an example of like why a cross map wasn't possible. So we can just roll this clip right off the bat. Peanut, just all he does to start this is gets a good trade on MNS. Right? So takes his health low. And from here, maybe MNS can go back to base. But can we just actually back the clip up? That was a little too quick to get through this point. Because basically once he's under the turret, Chronicler, talk from here, pause it.
So what happens here is MNS either needs to immediately back, right, and try to teleport back in, but even that is not a given because he is getting threatened, so he would have to go all the way back behind his turret, and by that point, you might not still be in time, right? You might not even have the opportunity, and the problem as well is that because of how the early games played out, when we look at the bot lane, there isn't really a lot of opportunity for the rest of C9 to respond. So the only person who can help here is Blabber.
Yeah, so we can keep rolling this clip.
And I think partially, Blabber is to blame here because he actually just walked straight through them. He needs to walk the long way around through the river and wrap around to the tower full health and can actually try to defend.
And then what we see here is a very aggressive play from the C9 bot lane, clearly that they're in, and double summoners for Berserker get blown.
Yeah, and we can pause it again right here. The reason that teams don't do anything when they lose mid-jungle is situations like this. So because these two don't have summoner spells, this mid-jungle, which cannot be followed by MNS and Blabber because they win every 2v2, can just get killed right here. It's unanswerable 4v2 at this point. So let's just roll the clip to see eventually what happened. But just remember all of this did from that initial trade that onto MNS and Cloud9 needing to accept the loss, in which they thought they weren't able to accept the loss because they were already down so far.
That's what we talk about playing through mid, not even necessarily killing the enemy mid later. Moving into the jungle, when you have the enemy jungle mid, now can jungle walk to their own jungle, you're just gonna die. And that's where it just really pours over the other side of the map. I think Gen G in both games have been so good at moving their advantage around the map, taking down all the towers. And that's why it feels like kind of competitive the first few minutes, and then all of a sudden you're down 5K.
MNS said it in the video when we came in. He said it's such a formidable duo to be playing, so we have to make something happen or have to be able to match that. I also thought the long range engages, like this was a very involved game from his side, but we saw Peanut there, and it's so cool to see because we talk so much about what a story and victorious jungler that Peanut has been, but he is really hungry to get that same result on the international stage, and he have to go through some friends, a FLICKR or a ruler if he wants to get to that final, and he's having a fantastic series.
And I really want to highlight Peanut, anyone on Gen G that is near, they always credit They're always like, this guy does so much, he talks so much, the entirety of the team, but as a result, at least in the LCK, he has a much more facilitative role, so seeing him actually being unleashed and showcasing that even though in his old age, he's still got the hands to play like this,
It's great to see, we'll have to see if it pans out, but Cloud9 who are up against it, they would have to reverse sweep, keep their dreams alive, and that starts with winning one game. Lay it on us.
Let's make it simple. It starts with winning one early early game.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to pick a scaling competition and win. I don't necessarily think their drafts have been that negative, but they really, I don't exactly know how they're going to find a way to win an early game, but that needs to be the key with all their conversations.
I'd also just say, like, I want to see Cloud9 have some more go buttons. I don't think the draft has been an issue either time, but both times it's Genji with the tools when the fight start. This game we have Lucian bot lane, Kasante top lane, we don't have tools to actually have guaranteed. I would rather see us have some of those go buttons, so you can try to actually at least choose where you are fighting. Because if you allow Genji to get dictate when and where you're going to fight, I just feel like you have absolutely no chance.
Disappointed?
I think it's time for Nidalee.
It's time for Nidalee.
The last chance.
Is this the window
Nidalee's a
for
fast,
it?
clear jungler, wins a lot of early skirmishes. It's been up in these drafts.
I like it.
Just go for it.
I love it. Just a direct sign to Blabber. Just pick it. What else can go wrong? Literally. Yeah, okay. Let's see if C9 can get back into this series. I would love to see it, but Gen.G, they look poised. We'll be right back with Game 3.
Blabber in a position to...
Oh, there we go. That's the grand entrance we're looking for. Sven's called out.
No, there's no I'm fine, but not fine. He flashed, ulted.
Chovy takes the kill. Gen.G's at 3-0, make it 4. And Gen.G are making game 2 even faster than the first time around. For C9 to do anything in neutral territory, especially when your jungler's already dead. Chovy goes in and they find the kill with the help of Peanut, and they're gonna make it 2 immediately. Gen.G's going to match point.
Complete dominance from Gen.G.
Red Bull gives you wings.
A team against a king. Seeing against believing. A moment against a moment for the ages. Countless battles, one arena. The realm. The only thing capable of powering the game, the stage, the broadcast, and the worldwide spectacle we know and love. AKA the Cisco Network.
New and existing customers can choose the phone they want, like the incredible iPhone 14 on us.
Not to brag, but I'm on Verizon now. And I got to choose the phone I wanted for free.
Not that you're bragging.
Choose the phone you want on us. Verizon.
I'm not here to hurt you. I'm you. From the future. I don't know what happens in the future, but it's not up to you to fix the world all by yourself.
Welcome back to MSI 2023 and a series that so far has been nothing but the accelerated destruction of Cloud9 by Gen G. They are looking fiercer than ever, and C9 has struggled to fight back.
Yeah, I really hope we get to see something from Cloud9 because it's a little sad watching Gen G just slaughter them. And it's not even like, if it was T1, you know, you'd just be getting killed over and over and over again. But this is almost more painful because they're just like outsmarting you, right? They're just playing the map so much better. They're systematically deconstructing you in such a clinical way.
1647 was a blessing.
In a way, yes. They just made it quick and ruthless, you know. Yeah, it's a challenging wall to overcome for Cloud9, and a lot is going to have to change to stand a chance. And
honestly, I just want to see them go crazy early. Just go super aggro, crazy early, set off some fireworks.
Heimerdinger Varus.
And see what happens, yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, something's got to change, and one of the biggest things I'm looking at is the jungle matchup. Peanut has been absolutely demolishing Blabber so far in this series, and when Blabber's not able to get in there and get things done, Cloud9 has a hard time accelerating without him. So let's go ahead and jump in. Once again, it'll be Cloud9 on the blue, Gen G on the red. Bans looking very similar to what we saw in game number 2. Vi and Lulu banned out by C9. Annie and Nautilus banned out by Gen G. C9 are going to swap things up this time. They played against Peanut's Wukong one time, and it'll be one time only.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, gents. I really don't think the Wukong was the problem. I think that it's a problem. I guess from Cloud9's perspective, they're arguing, hey, clearly Ahri isn't just a blind pick that Gen G will go for, so we don't need to ban it away. Instead, we can let it through. Maybe it's something we can even get for ourselves. But the Cassante still being up wouldn't surprise me if C9 go for that, and that's exactly what they'll look.
And the thing is, I feel like Chovy might, yeah. Grab me that Ahri. He loves the Ahri. See about it. All right, Gen G, the ball is in your court. Paint us a picture.
I think that Gen G right now, they could either go Zyra Khan or they can go Aphelios Lulu. Oh, they can't go Lulu. So Zyra Khan actually just makes more sense. Why not run it back? Yeah. They could also go for the Jinx and then lock in a jungle if they want to. They are just changing it up every game. They just have so many options.
See, that's what I think. They just throw it down for Chovy, grab that Ahri now. Right. He's so good on it. It's difficult. And if you're looking at counter picks, the counter picks aren't even like really counter picks. They're like, oh, Lissandra, you know, types of answers. And ooh, Cloud9 again. They just throw right back down the Lucian Nami. In isolation, the bottom lane in the early stages has been doing fine.
Yep, Lucian and Nami for Berserker and Sven, hoping to try to get some of that early power. They don't just want to play the scaling handshake of Aphelios versus Jinx. They want to try to make something else happen. Over on the side of Gen G, they're going to lock in Thresh, the extra protection power, along with the extra hook capabilities for the picks and the engages. That'll be what delight pilots here in Game 3.
So if Gen G want to, they can actually start banning away other jungle options because Viego is still up. And I think that Cloud9 should consider looking to remove that. We know that both junglers do have very deep pools. They both showcased a wide array of different champions at this competition. And Nidalee is going to be the first one removed. Again, they are cautious of this Cassante potentially going mid, as C9 now look to remove some of those top lane options that Doran has been very dominant on.
And the only thing Gen G really have to guard against is what we're talking about, super early game, aggro, any kind of crazy carry stuff that could come out. And so, yeah, ban away the Nidalee that has possibilities of doing something there on the side for Blabber. Ban away MNS, you know, is iconic champion. So they take out the LeBlanc here. They're not as worried about the list.
All right, one more ban to go for C9. Do they want to continue to target that top lane pool? I mean, Doran's got plenty of different options that he could play. Remember last time around the Malphite was banned out? Okay, we're going to ban the Malphite out again for the side of C9. Now what will it be? Jungler first or top laner first for the side of Gen G?
Say jungle. I definitely agree, Vetty here. Grab it up for Peanut, and then on the side, you can have Doran have the final counter.
They're looking like the Kha'Zix right now. I think both Kha'Zix and Viego are perfectly fine options. A lot of single target damage right now. Gen G is looking at some type of front line if they want to. Ornn was something that they showcased in the first game. Nothing wrong with bringing that back out again. The cannon locked in means that C9 are changing it up. They'll put the Cassandra into mid, the Lee Sin jungle, and the cannon on top side. So here's hoping that blabber can actually have some early game agency on top of this Lee Sin.
And the final pick of the draft for Gen G, it's the Gragas locked in for Doran.
Scary, scary. Will we get finals Doran here on the Gragas? Gen G, now they're the ones with a mid jungle that looks very scary. Charm from Ahri here into some Kha'Zix play. We'll see if Blabber and MNS can counter.
Man, the thing that's so scary about the single target damage of Kha'Zix and Ahri and champions like this, when combined with the Jinx, it's so easy to get excited. And Pays is the type of player. Remember, even though this guy's a rookie, this is a dude who is absolutely insane at League of Legends. He was the Spring Finals MVP in their 3-1 victory over T1, who was the first place LCK team during the regular split. This guy's nuts, and if he gets excited, he's taking over the fight.
And with that win, with that MVP, he became the youngest bottom laner to ever win LCK. Absolutely outstanding stuff, and he's got a long career ahead of him.
I think the only other person alongside him is FLICKR in that regard. In any case, backs against the wall. C9 find themselves in a very difficult position. And let's see if they can change things around, because there's a lot that needs to be changed. The good luck have funds have come out. We're getting close to the Red Flowers.
Alrighty, guys, this could be the last game of the tournament for Cloud9 unless they can turn things around. They have many problems to solve. They have a hell of a mountain to climb, and this is their last chance to get it done. They're down 0-2 against the LCK's #1 seed. Gen G are one game away from eliminating North America and moving on. They're gonna start off with a coordinated invade yet again. Just gonna drop down some vision, I would expect.
Yeah, some very intelligent level ones for this year so far for Gen G. Getting that early information, and Peanut was able to do a lot with it last time around. This time around, Cloud9, you see, they're moving in. Blabber gonna be able to get the same.
Wait, did he drop a ward?
Not yet. They actually just hovered. They didn't even drop their own trinket ward. Blabber wants to save it. He's Lee Sin, of course, wanting to use it for jumps.
Is Fudge going to do it then? Because I really think it's valuable here for C9 to at the very least get some information in the early game. Because now they have no idea where Peanut is starting. The only thing that they know for sure is that their red buff has been warded. And it looks like this Cassandra will hover around to protect any delayed starts, but... All right, so no information gained early. Those chants follow you guys everywhere, huh?
Yeah, they really do. A little bit of trading back and forth here at level 1. Kind of in the story of bottom lane every single game so far. Neither one of these duos is afraid to get scrappy as soon as the minions collide down here in the bottom lane. Sven and Berserker trying to play this Lucian and Nami, trying to get early advantages, get an early edge here. But one of the big things that stopped them from being able to do so, I think, is just not getting Blabber involved in this bottom lane, not being able to find any plays with the rest of the team early on. Delight finds a play there on Sven. Berserker finds a couple of auto attacks back in Delight. So right now, HP advantage over to Cloud9, but it's so very slight, and it's level 2 first for the side of Gen G. C9 backing up in time that they will not be engaged on just yet, but they are forced to wait underneath the turret.
Yeah, they don't want to lose any summer spells early this time around because both junglers are starting top quadrant. We'll jungle down there. Oh, Peanut is actually looking for the tri-brush play onto Fudge, but Fudge put his ward, had a pre-existing ward here. Peanut finds it, gets his zombie ward. The Gragas has just had so much sustain in this lane. Yeah, you're going to lose out to push to Kennen range advantage, but you have so much sustain. Just keep CSing up here at your tower, keep it in a safe spot. Peanut even comes over to clear up some of the vision.
Vedius, where where would you want to see Cloud9 focus here with some early jungle attention in this game if they were to switch things up and finally find one of these early games in their own favor against Gen G?
I mean, I would say bot lane. If I was FLICKR, I would think about like a full clear bot side into early gank, something like that. I think that obviously there's a lot of risk, but if you get a couple summoner spells out, it sets you up for another play later on. I think stacking a wave and then diving with the Kennen is also something you can do, but diving a Gragas is very difficult, especially this early on into the game, but perhaps something they can look into a little bit later is Fudge is doing pretty well in terms of gaining a CS advantage. Pace is going to go back to base. Blabber. Ooh, that was close on that.
And Blabber should know, yeah, you know, we saw the Kazakhs take a couple seconds clear top tri-brush ward, so he knew he was a little bit ahead of Kazakhs on clear. They come up, they fish around, doesn't really get anything out of it, and Peanut is able to stabilize and finish out towards his bottom side, but it should be a double scuttle crab. So the very, very small jungle lead in exchange for that few seconds left on top side.
MNS also moving into the enemy jungle, dropping down the ward into the brush next to the Raptor pit of Gen G. Just again, trying to keep track of Peanut, trying to stop Gen G from getting this guy involved in some early kills. Fudge once more just going to be shoving up here in the top lane. But again, it's that sustain on the Gragas that's going to make it hard for Kennen to do anything past just getting these waves underneath the turret and forcing Gragas to be farming up underneath that turret. Back in mid, Chovy level 5, MNS level 5. Once Chovy hits level 6 in the Ahri, that's when I expect to see Gen G really starting to make some moves here around this guy.
Well, Gen G don't have to be too crazy proactive. Like, things that they're going to look for is like back timings, windows to roam. And I imagine, I wouldn't be surprised to see them play through bot themselves. We saw a really nice dive from them in the last game. But stacked wave into 4-man bot, tried and true practice that we've seen pretty consistently throughout MSI and this year for many regions. Do you remember those turret changes that they made to make tower diving harder? And then they reverted those changes. Teams around the world are like, oh, cool.
Well, MNS walking up here, forcing Chovy back. Peanut ready in case MNS just got a little bit too hyphy there in the mid lane, but with the Cassante backing away, Peanut's just going to go back to farming his own camps. You can see level 6 hit first for Doran and the Gragas up there in the top lane. MNS going back for his first purchase. Mercury treads are going to be fully completed. Wants to make sure he has the extra movement speed to dodge the charms. And then, of course, the tenacity helping him to survive some of the CC potential, even if he does get hit. Blabber starting up the Drake very early here in the bottom side of the map. The Mountain Drake, not the case this time. Ocean, a bit easier to deal with earlier.
And it's a good timer, because look at the wave states here. Mid and bottom both pushing in. So Blabber has the priority, starts it up. MNS trying to chunk out through mid lane wave. Peanut fishing around, but it's going to cost Gen G a little bit if they fully commit to it.
Well, we're going to have a smite fight over this, it looks like. Secured by Blabber, but now Berserker's got to be careful. He's at half HP. MNS going to rotate down to the fight first, but Chovy's got the level 6. Keep your eyes on the Ahri. Can he land a charm? Can he find some damage? Gen G still hanging around. Low health on Berserker. Blabber also a little bit compromised here. MNS now taking some damage too. Chovy jumps in. Unstoppable, but it doesn't matter. The Cassante's already down, and Sven's caught next. Chovy grabs the kill, and Blabber has to take the blast cone away. Gen G, they wait patiently, and they strike true.
In a game of chicken, Gen G hold their nerve, and at just the right moment, they walk away with first blood and an extra kill to boot. Doran gets very low. Fudge, will he threaten to dive? It looks like for now he will not. But Gen G, oh, Doran, you need to be careful.
Fudge going in, Doran, nice body slam, flashes away, back underneath the turret, survives with just what had to be 20 health. The Thundering Shuriken! Fudge gets a solo kill in the top lane.
Right between the eyes, Fudge gets Doran on the top side. They get some gold, but you guys went over it. That is after the play towards the dragon. Chovy had gone in, he ults, he hits his charm on Ahri. Chovy does not miss those. They don't allow MNS time on the Cassante to get his ultimate off. And off of that kill, Gen G did end up getting more. We are going to get a replay look at it as Peanut kind of went to threaten it. And then they're trying to corral them here. And look at Chovy from the top side. MNS tries to screen him, but he's going to be the one to make the first move.
So a lot of cooldowns are like not available right now, and so both teams just watching. Gen G just waiting for these to come back up. The second MNS oversteps, the charm will connect from Chovy. Blabber misses the Q. and it's just an easy one target at a time. The single target damage that we were talking about, it all just stemmed off Chovy finding that initial charm to really snowball the play in Genji's favor.
Yeah, really good timing from him too to just interrupt the Cassante there. Combo breaker indeed, but then Fudge.
Doran a little overconfident there.
Yeah, you can see the reaction. That's a little bit of a whoopsie-daisy there for the big man in the top lane, but considering the state of the rest of the game, 1,500, or not 1,500, sorry, my eyes aren't very good. About 800 gold lead there for the side of Gen.G for that one extra kill they got in the bottom lane.
And I will say, okay, we are trying to build a big hopium case for Cloud9. It is all centered on the top lane. There is actually no exhaust taken in this game for Gen.G. So Fudge is going to have the game of his life. He has got a big advantage over Doran, isolated, but he's going to have to bring that to the rest of the... Oh no!
Kobe, I think that might have been one of the greatest caster curses of all time. Fudge is down to just 50 health. Doran continuing to chase, body slam forward. He takes a big old swig. He tags Fudge, and Doran gets the solo kill. Oh my God, they killed Kennen.
That they did, Flowers. Doran, after getting killed himself, immediately comes back to lane and rectifies the deficit. Massive play from Doran with a great ultimate, knocks Fudge underneath the tower, and he finds himself a solo kill.
Well, that's also going to be another Rift Herald for Gen.G. They've done such a good job snowballing with these Rift Heralds, with these early games. Although Cloud9 did get that dragon before they lost out on the kills.
Ooh, close but no cigar on the Super Mega Death Rocket. Recall interruption, and there it is. Gen.G pick up the Herald. So Peanut can now decide wherever, whenever he wants to deploy this one. Picked it up just after the 10-minute mark, so has pretty much the entire duration there for the turret plates. And Blabber is just set up by Delight and knocked down by Peanut.
The observers highlighted the vision that was used to spot him out there. Good hook from Delight, holds onto the flay until Lee Sin tries to ward hop, and then he's brought straight into the gullet of Peanut, who finds himself another kill.
Yeah, Gen.G constantly.
Oh, M&S trying to go all out here dealing with Chovy. But Chovy just needs to hit one or two more spells. He might be able to find the kill at easy. Nope, M&S barely survives to walk away.
And once again, look at the map right now. You've got the rotation up top side. Cloud9 had everybody up there, and Fudge is a little bit slower off of their reset here to get back to bottom side. So Doran had time. Gets all the minion wave into the tower. The minions will finish off that turret plate for him as well. And Gen.G squeezing out these extra bits of gold.
What's crazy is Fudge actually had a 600 gold lead over Doran, and then after Doran gets that kill back, he also gets himself a plate, which means that that gold difference suddenly disappears. So even though he's down 20 CS, it's the first mythic completed for Doran already. I believe that's the first mythic of the game. Flashing from Doran.
Doran, oh my goodness gracious, he just knocks him around like a pool shark. Another kill over to Gen.G, another kill for the top laner, and now in bottom side, Cloud9's looking to find the dive. Fudge will kill off Pays, but is he going to be taken down in response? Yes, he will. Peanut gets one back. It's an even trade in the bottom side.
Okay, Blabber doesn't have kick anymore.
Peanut trying to go in for this 1v1. Backs away, waiting for the cooldowns here yet again. Blabber hanging around, tries to go for the skill check, and he gets rocked. Peanut picking up number 3. Meanwhile, back in the top lane, Berserker's calling nothing. And Doran throws out a barrel and ready to bop him over the head. He doesn't quite have the distance. Doran overcommits, and Berserker gets the kill.
Doran's just a party this game. Whether he's getting kills or getting killed, that man is constantly looking for action. He gets the summoner spells out from Berserker. He will lose his life, but across the map, Gen.G continue to find advantages. Peanut 3-0 once more. Sven will flash away. 12 minutes in. Gen.G have 7 kills. They just locked down another tower, and the gold gap is now 3.5k.
Yeah, they use that Rift Herald to get Pays the turret kill, get Pays excited. Jinx can continue pushing in here on Fudge. Secondary charge as well. Cloud9 starting the rotation down. Blabber through the jungle.
Okay, Blabber looking for an angle on Pays here. Goes in, but the Lantern is right there and ready to go. Delight makes sure his AD carry can get out. as now Gen G, like you said, Vedius, almost 4,000 gold up, still 1 minute left before the plates fall. No neutral objectives available to take for another 3 minutes.
And after that last little bit of action, now there's no summoner spells on the Cloud9 bottom lane, so Cloud9 smart here. They rotate them into mid lane. The safest of the lanes is another.
He just doesn't miss with these, knocking the enemies back and forth. Super Mega Death Rocket coming in from downtown, but it does not connect. MNS might be able to find himself a kill here. He's got to be careful, and he gets it done with the Cassante.
Can he get out, though? Here comes Kha'Zix. Can he get out?
He's trying to run away. Peanut looking for the angle, tries to use the stealth, but as soon as Blabber shows up, he doesn't want it anymore. Blabber goes in for the kick, and MNS is ready for the follow-up damage. Peanut tries to outplay in the 1v2, but he's kicked upside the mouth, and Blabber grabs the shutdown. Back in the bottom lane, it's Chovy versus Fudge in a 1v1 as the cannon's almost out of energy, and Chovy's spirit rushes back underneath the turret.
Chaos is where Cloud9 can thrive. These small skirmishes, this over-aggression that we're seeing from Doran is a window that Cloud9 can take advantage of. They're getting picks, they're getting kills, and if they can keep this up, they can definitely still stand a chance in Game 3.
Yeah, and Berserker here on Gale Force plus Serrated Dirk. Those ults do a lot of damage here. Nami and Lucian trying to exert their will on the control ward is Pays, but sees the Nami ult and will get out. The mid lane swap here, though, to get them control, and Cloud9 even bring MNS up to try and bully that down and get themselves an objective.
We got 82 gold in the top lane. Yep, Cloud9 has an advantage. Scoreboard. And that's more than they've had in a lot of the games so far. So Gen G, although they're still very far ahead, some signs of life out of Cloud9, keeping this game chaotic like you guys were talking about. Make it as unpredictable as possible.
Okay, so for the side of Gen G, Doran does have to focus up a bit in this game because it's going to be a lot on Gragas to mark the cannon. As we said before, they don't have an exhaust on Gen G to fall back on for these team fights. If Fudge does find a really good angle, you know, with his flash, with his proto belt up, then they're going to rely on Doran and Delight peeling on marking that cannon, trying to stop him from getting in. I mean, Chovy even on this Ahri can do a good job of it too with the ult plus charm.
A little face check into MNS. Blabber following down here as well, seeing if they might be able to follow this up, but as soon as Peanut's also available, it's no shot, no chance. Chovy grabs the kill on the enemy jungler, and now MNS has to try to escape. Chovy still following up. Peanut not quite enough damage to finish off MNS, but with the victory in the 2v2, Gen G can move forward and continue stealing away these resources, taking away the jungle camps, and pressuring Cloud9. Pays going to pick up the enemy red buff. He's got Delight right next to him. They're putting down the vision. They're taking everything.
Naturally, as Cloud9, you would believe that Chovy's made a mistake there, but the only reason why he's face-checking is because he knows that Peanut is right behind him, and this Kha'Zix Ahri duo is a mid-jungle duo you can't afford to underestimate.
Not only does Chovy have the bounty with 2 kills on his head, he's got 183 CS at 16 minutes.
He's Chovying.
I just love when he said it's Chovin time and Chovy'd all over them.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the Chovy Ahri, man. It's so scary. And MNS once again just eating some skill shots down here in bottom lane. Man, it is so difficult for Cloud9 to just try to stop this bleeding at all. As soon as there is an opportunity for Gen G, they are immediately seizing it every chance they get. Blabber into the Rift Herald pit at least, looking to secure this neutral objective for the side of Cloud9. As MNS moves forward to stop the back of the enemy mid, Delight forced to flash away by the Berserker culling. That's at least one summoner spell down. Next Drake fight here in about 30 seconds.
I mean, Berserker is still in a pretty solid position right now. That's the type of trades you're looking for. Pays with a bit of an overstep will be brought to safety by Delight. With the Herald, C9 should be able to secure this objective, and the Dragon spawns in 20 seconds, which means that they have an avenue in.
Chovy's coming for a flank. Ahri coming up through the jungle.
Cloud9 just going to go forward. They look for the dive instead. They find the kill on Delight, but now they got to be careful. Pays is only about 1/3 HP. TP's coming in from both top laners. C9 looking to disengage as Chovy finds the lockdown on the enemy jungler, and Blabber's going to be taken low, but it's Berserker taken down. Peanut grabbing the kill on that one as MNS is in the middle of 4. 1v4. He cannot win, and Chovy goes on a killing spree with 2 dead on the side of Cloud9, and only Delight still looking at black and white on the side of Gen G. Chovy still ready to go and find some more. Charm of the wall hits the target, and there's the follow-up from Doran. Gen G play like a machine, and Fudge is looking to break the cogs. He goes in and finds
First one, kill. Now he's going to grab the second, but Chovy fires back and picks up Blabber and Sven. Now, what can Chovy do? He'll just take the tier 1 turret and walk on back.
Oh, this game at least has a lot more excitement in it. More kills thrown down. Fudge trying to keep those hopes for Cloud9 alive. He goes back in even as Chovy is prowling around the outside, hunting Cloud9 members down in their own jungle between turrets. Fudge makes the counterplay. He tries to fight their way out of the destruction of that turret. Here's where it all started. Cloud9, Herald play right up the middle, but I called it out on the minimap. Chovy was coming really early for the flank, so as Cloud9, they get their chase down, they get the kill on the tower. It's the teleport plus the Ahri flank. He comes in, he ults, he gets the combo onto Blabber, forces the flash, while Peanut and Pays have alone time with Berserker, and once Berserker's down, MNS then finds himself inside the entirety of Gen G. We're back to action.
Chovy getting caught out here by Berserker and Blabber, but he gets away. The flash to escape the range of the calling, and the Gen G mid laner lives to see another day.
C9 just got Chovied once again. The man is 5-0-2, yet to die this game. And this is the downside for Cloud9. The mid laner for Gen G has just been racking up kills, has nearly a 700 gold bounty, but you can see he's very close to a death cap, Flowers.
Yeah, this is just kind of a masterclass on what Chovy is, the advantages this man builds. He's 50 CS ahead. He's 5-0-2, 7 out of 12 kill participation, no deaths. He does all of it. He affects the map and the game so heavily without ever compromising his own position. It's incredible to watch.
Gen G doing such a good job, especially with Peanut constantly down on this red quadrant of the jungle, clearing all that vision out with the Umbral Glaive, keeping it dark, and allowing them to split push. You know, Gen G with this long lane on bottom side, taking that secondary turret so early, allows them a lot more room to work with as Baron now finally spawns on the top side of the map. They can leverage this discrepancy in map control, sending Chovy up to the top side.
And now, what I think is a really cool thing to watch is how Gen G actually secure this out of tower, because sometimes these out of towers can be obnoxious or difficult to take, but Gen G will slowly, ideally they'll get that push in mid first, they'll move up into the top river. You can already see them clearing out this river vision, and they'll basically make it uncomfortable for C9 to actually approach this objective. And again, like you look at mid lane, you can see Pays getting that push in the wave, then they can move up into the river, they have that prio on top side, and then they slowly chip away at this objective, and C9 are trying to match. They have sent Fudge down to cross map on the bot side of the map, but in the isolated 1v1, it's going to be much harder for C9 to secure this objective compared to the support that Chovy has on the top side. And again, very clean execution as Gen G secure themselves their final out of tower.
Cloud9's #1 objective right now, to give themselves the hope for one of those comeback plays, is to sneak wards into unsuspecting areas here. It's very difficult because the Kha'Zix is running around with this Umbral Glaive, but if they can sneak a ward into a flank angle for Fudge, the Kennen, remember, he is the hope for the team fight for this team. His flank teleport, plus a proto belt and all the flat penetration he has right now on this power spike, with double flat pen items, plus his rank 2 ultimates, that is the only thing Gen G have to guard against. They have to look for those flank wards, they have to look for that Kennen, mark him with Doran.
21.5 minutes into the game, 6,500 gold lead for Gen G. They're up 2-1 in Drakes, 4-1 in turrets. Just about 90 seconds until that next Drake spawns. Baron is on the table, and Gen G have total control over the top side river. Doran even just throws out the explosive cast to deny the red buff from C9. Gen G are in the zone. They are feeling it.
And again, they move out to these side lanes, and they just keep them pushed. They sent Chovy up top lane. He's going to push out another wave. They had Doran push out bot before he stole away that red buff.
Oh,
and while
looking.
C9 do have this push in mid, they're overstacked right now as 4, which then, like, you look at that top wave, now they have to go and answer that, which then gives this window for Gen G to push in the next mid wave and then move into whatever area of the map that they want.
Yeah, I mean, at least they had Kennen on bottom side, though. Fudge pushes out the bottom side, so Gen G also having to go catch their side wave here.
Oh, Chovy immediately jumping out of the brush with the Super Mega Death Rocket coming down, but it won't connect on any targets. Gen G were setting the trap. Cloud9 managed to escape, but that's about it. It did cost the cleanse out of Berserker, the flash out of Sven, the flash out of Blabber.
I like that little pip from our observer team. Nice little touch there.
Wait, Doran himself could be looking for flank plays. As much as we're setting up, oh, Cloud9 have these possible comeback plays. Doran as well, there's so much area to work with for Gen G with these super deep wards scattered all around the entryway pathways towards Baron. The night is dark and full of terrors, gentlemen, for Cloud9.
Yeah,
Gen G are in there looking for picks.
They just keep doing a great job of keeping these waves pushed. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chovy go catch that top wave once again, push it in, get these trinkets burnt. And again, Gen G just playing the patient game right now. TP comes in from Fudge in the mid lane.
Okay, Delight finding a hook. They get M&S. The tankiest target there on the side of C9, but it's not even going to matter that much. Dorian's here in the front line. He's gone gold. Peanut taking some damage from Fudge, who goes over the wall with a slicing maelstrom. He's not going to find any kills just yet. Pays grabs the kill back over the cannon instead. Not a single death on Gen G. That was Cloud9's try, and it wasn't good enough.
Such a great flash from Fudge. Chovy's looking for more.
Chovy wants Berserker. He nearly gets him. He does get him. It's a clean ace for Gen G.
Execution once again. 5 dead for Cloud9. 5 alive for Gen G. 24 minutes in, the Baron will be theirs, and it feels like that this series is done and dusted.
Clean ace, absolute wipe here. All right, it starts out with the pick onto the front line. M&S here, chunked down to 50% HP. So you think he's going to ult immediately. Berserker gets comboed in by Doran. So Berserker uses everything to get out of the center. And then Fudge tries to dive in, sees the angle, gets multiple here with the cannon ultimate, but they don't have the damage. Even with Blabber following, Chovy still survives, Doran still survives. Guess what? You've got Pays here on the Jinx, watching them focus on his other teammates, free firing. Then Chovy says, I'm not done with you yet. Get right back here. Q through all of them.
Oh, and I think even an auto attack is actually what executed Berserker. And then Peanut coming in with the cleanup. 3 stacks immediately back for Chovy. Just absolutely systematic destruction, and props to Doran in the middle of that fight. He saw the cannon flash over the wall, turns around, ease onto him, provides that extra bit of CC to buy time for Gen G to turn the fight around. 11k is the gold gap now as Gen G make their way towards the base of C9.
Yeah, he both made the pick onto Berserker and then went back to go peel. And now Gen G, they're wearing purple and they're coming to destroy towers.
And that sequence of events turned this into an 11,000 gold lead with Soul Point for the side of Gen G. Peanut taking some damage here as Cloud9 does whatever they can, just trying to hold these guys off, but it's nigh impossible at this point in the game. Doran's gonna take down the tier 2 turret back over in mid as Cloud9's health bars are just not strong enough. M&S is down to just about nothing. He's gone! And Gen G are moving straight into the base. Mid lane, tier 3 turret, that's your first target. Minion wave joining up in the top side to get this one knocked down right after. First inhibitor about to fall back in mid. Berserker takes one auto attack and loses all of his health. He's gone before I could finish my sentence. As Fudge and Sven and Blabber can't do anything. The engage is clean. Gen G is mean. They are not gonna be stopped. It's a double kill back over to Pays. This series was easy. They never even broke a sweat. The #1 team from the LCK has that title for a reason, and they will clean sweep North America out of MSI.
A deathless game for Chovy. A more chaotic game from what we've seen during the series. And what seemed like promising opportunities for C9 were very quickly shut down, largely off the back of that man in the mid lane.
Gen G, absolute dominance here today at MSI. All 3 games, take a bow, well-deserved.
Incredible showing from the LCK #1 seed. They will move on in the tournament. Their next match will be up against BLG. Cloud9's run ends here. As a diehard North American fan, I am sadder than hell, but I'm not gonna act even for a minute like that series was close. Gen G was the better team today in every measurable metric. They beat Cloud9 early, they beat them mid, they beat them late, they beat them in sides, they beat them in team fights. It was just an absolute crushing by Gen G, showing that you've got to be the best of the best if you want to compete at the top.
And when you look forward, Gen G looking to face up against BLG in the lower bracket, what a contrast of styles, right? Where you have that controlled, crisp, methodical approach to just dismantling your opposition versus the chaos that we consistently see from BLG, the scrappiness, the team fighting. It's going to be an interesting contrast of styles. And BLG, though, they're going to be a little worried after seeing such a dominant performance like we saw today.
Yeah, especially mid lane. I feel like they're going to be worried. Yagao's got to be shaking in his boots. Chovy's coming for you. Meanwhile, topside, though, Bin always confident. Hopefully we'll see him stick to some carry styles so we do get the clash of styles and they don't try and conform to the rest of the MSI meta.
You saw all the signs from the fans and the audience there for Chovy and for Pays and for the rest of Gen G. These guys are all such stars in their roles. Incredible performances from everybody, really. I mean, this last game was the spiciest of all, for sure. Dorian up there in the top side, just constantly in the Thunderdome, battling with everybody. But even early on, when it looked like Cloud9 might have had to put all the eggs in the fudge basket, try to full send that, it was still Gen G who managed to come back. And now Cloud9 making their way out onto the stage for one final bow here in London. Here at MSI 2023, they are North America's most successful international team throughout the history of the LCS. And I know a lot of fans are going to be looking to see more from them later on this year. A lot of people are going to be expecting them to be back for Worlds.
I love it, the audience giving them a cheer when they need it the most. These are the most painful moments, fresh off that loss, fresh off the receiving end there. Crowd lets them know they still have their support.
I mean, the West is far behind, and there's going to be a lot of growth needed between now and Worlds, and obviously the expectations are going to be that Korea and China are very firmly sitting at the top of the table. Now the battle becomes between the LPL and the LCK. Who is the top dog? For a long time, LPL have dominated. LCK have obviously been able to fight back in recent history, especially when we look back to last year where it was really just Korea sitting at the top of the table. And it's exciting to see what will happen in the future.
Here we go, Peanut with the player of this series. Very deserved, if I don't say so myself. Absolute domination from him.
From start to finish, his performance in the early game was spectacular. He completely shut down Blabber. His presence on the map was fantastic. He knew exactly where to be, when to be there, and how to execute. And huge props to Peanut. Obviously a player that, depending on the meta, different people have different opinions on his level of performance, but definitely a strong showing. And it feels like that he's got plenty of comfort picks here at this MSI.
Such a long hit, rich history here with this player in competitive play. Love to see the longevity of his career as well.
And not just, it's one thing to play for a long time, but to play at this level for that long, to be the guy who can just come into the series and say, yeah, I'm the X factor. Whether he was leading the way, whether he was just getting minor advantages for the team through vision and pathing, or whether he was perfectly shadowing his other laners to make sure things like the Ahri face checking into the tri-brush is actually just, it's not a mistake at all. That's just a good play. It was a lot of fun to watch. It shows you how jungle should be played.
Certainly is. And I'm excited to see what they can do in the next round. As we said, Gen G versus BLG is going to be our next best of 5 in the lower bracket.
Well, with Gen G clean sweeping this series, it's time to head down to the stage with Lore for the Verizon post-game interview.
Thank you so much, guys, and Score. Thank you so much for joining me for your very first MSI interview. I want to ask you about GDB BP. And before we go there, I want to explain to the audience what this meme is. It's a meme from the LCK and the LPL, GBP being Score's initials, and BP standing for picks and ban. So I want to know, what was the flavor of today's draft in the GDB BP?
네, 감독님 승리 정말 축하드리고요. 인터뷰 정말 감사드립니다. 이제 감독님이 GDB BP라는 그런 또 별명이 생겼을 만큼 다양한 픽밴적인 시도를 보여주는 것에 대해서 궁금증이 많은데요. 오늘은 그러면 GDB BP의 컨셉이 무엇이었나요?
사실 오늘의 컨셉 자체는 이제 저희가 이번엔 MSI 준비하면서 뭐 준비했던 것들이 많은데 오늘 약간 좀 단단한 조합을 하고 싶어서 좀 단단한 쪽으로 많이 준비했던 것 같습니다.
Well, coming to this MSI, we actually prep a lot of different strategies, but today we wanted to go with a lot more solid comps.
Yeah, and special mention to the Vex in answer to the LeBlanc that I think the audience loved a lot. I want to talk to you about Paze, who's maybe one of the most up-and-coming talents in the LCK, but also on the international stage, having to come after Ruler and filling his shoes. Tell me about working with him, how has it been, and also getting this rookie prepped for MSI today.
네, 말씀하신 그런 단단한 조합에서 특히나 르블랑 상대로 백스가 정말 잘 먹혔던 것 같습니다. 그렇다면 페이즈 선수에 대한 질문을 드리고 싶은데요. LCK에서도 정말 많은 관심을 받고 있는 신예 선수였고 룰러 선수의 빈자리를 채우며 이제 첫 번째 국제전인 MSI도 치르고 계신데요. 이런 신인 선수를 MSI라는 국제 무대에서 어떤 식으로 준비시켜 주셨는지 페이즈 선수와 함께한 경험은 어땠는지 궁금합니다.
일단 사실 뭐 저희 LCK 내에서도 되게 처음 데뷔를 한 친구라서 LCK 준비할 때도 많이 좀 신경을 많이 써줬고 이제 코치들이 특히 많이 신경을 많이 써줘요. 그리고 이제 MSI 오기 전에도 뭐 무성 코치나 마파 코치나 계속 되게 좋은 얘기를 많이 해주면서 그렇게 좀 전담해서 좀 해주고 있는 것 같아요. 코치들이 되게 신경.
Yeah, I mean, Paze had his rookie season in the LCK as well, so we paid a lot of attention to him to take care of him. So especially the coaching staff, they were always giving him a lot of comments and advices, especially coming into this MSI, our coach Musong and Mafa, they were just like paying attention to Paze all the time, giving all the advices they can give for him.
And I'm really happy to hear this because it echoes to all the achievements Gen.G achieved ever since you joined the team. So much success on their side. How do you reflect on your achievements as a coach since you joined the team?
그리고 스코어 감독님이 이제 팀에 합류하신 이후로부터 젠지가 정말 승승장구하며 수많은 업적을 남기고 있습니다. 본인이 이제 코치진으로 합류한 뒤에 업적에 대해서는 어떻게 생각하시나요?
이제 되게 운이 많이 좋았다고 생각해요. 이제 제가 사실 군대를 한번 갔었는데 이제 돌아올 때 되게 좋은 기회라고 생각해서 이제 저희 단장님이 이지훈 단장님이 이렇게 선택 제안을 해줬을 때 너무 좋은 기회라서 꼭 하겠다 이런 식으로 얘기를 했고 이제 선수들과 이제 코치진이 너무 다 잘하는 친구들이라서 좀 되게 수월하게 좀 성적을 잘 낸 것 같습니다. 네.
I mean, I got really lucky, you know. After I finished my military service, I got this offer from Gen.G's GM, Ji-hoon, and I was like, this is a great opportunity for me. So I told him, I'm going to take it no matter what. And ever since I joined, you know, just Gen.G already had fantastic lineup of players and coaching staff, so we were able to accomplish so many things.
And we're really happy to have you on your very first MSI experience. Last question for you, JDG T1 tomorrow. Who takes it and what is going to be the score?
그렇다면 이제 내일 경기에 대한 예측 부탁드립니다. 징동 대 T1인데요. 어떻게 보고 계신가요?
저는 사실 T1이 이길 거라고 예상합니다. 네.
I think T1 will win.
All right, we'll see about this tomorrow's score. 축하드립니다. 인터뷰 감사합니다. Jason, thank you so much for the translation and being on stage with me as always. Sharks, back to you in cooldown.
Thank you so much. Just a cheeky little, I think T1 will win. Welcome everyone to MSI Cooldown with me and my besties. Two of my besties though are kind of sad.
I'm very sad.
Are you like still sad or, you know?
I'm okay.
Azelle was telling me he's used to it, so.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The series was so one-sided that I never really got the hope that much. In this one. When it's closer, like in some of the other series, they hurt more because you had more hope, right? Like it was against BLG, even though they got 3-0'd, it was very back and forth. You could see how they could win all the games. In this one, it was just Gen.G were a wall, and they were just not even touching.
Actually, do you want to Chronicler? Do you want to that guy him?
I think that maybe we put all of them, the entirety of Gen.G, over here. Because I think today they really showed.
Got him.
And I also think it's really nice of them. Jet was complaining a little bit, you know, after game 2 that it was not fun enough. And I think that in the final game, you know, Gen.G had a little bit more fun.
Dorian tried his best for us.
He did. He really did. I think actually we might want to change player of the series because.
Wait, what?
The entertainment factor. No, like literally, Gen.G, they did win the LCK. We can't forget that. Just because they're in the losers bracket, they were completely dominant today. You got to see them hopefully at their best. I hope that wasn't them at their worst, but I do expect them actually to be pretty big favorites going into the next round and still challenge to win MSI.
So incredibly clean and not in the least in the mid lane, and every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, Chovy said it's Chovying time, and Chovy'd all over C9 with the charm, and the charm, and the charm, and it just keeps on going.
Yeah, Chovy, his dominance in early game skirmishes is something that Gen G relies on so much, and specifically the way that him and Peanut have been able to snowball this entire series is remarkable, right? And particularly on his Ahri, the level of dominance that he has, if I'm right from the top of my head, is 22-5 right now on the pick, right? Ever since the rework, he has been using this champion to completely dominate team fights.
Yeah, he used every dash, it felt like, to perfection. He always kept getting more. He'd use like 2 at the start of the fight, get an assist. Almost always surprised people with how far he could cover a team fight. But then on top of that, like in all of these fights, he's over 10 CS per minute. So he's always rich, he's always farming, and then he's also getting a bunch of kills and assists.
Well, I mean, it's just fun seeing someone who's like a true master of a champion, you know, like how they create the lead and then what they can do once they have the lead. Because we got to see him in those early skirmishes when it was more on even keel, he's still dominating. And then when he's like 6,000 gold ahead of M&S, he's just taking 1v3s. Like, he can do whatever he wants.
Also, if you're wondering about that Chovying all over them, actually comes because yesterday we were talking to Atlas and Chronicler. What is it, Atlas's birthday? About when you have to cast LCK Challenger, I believe.
LCK Challengers is, of course, if you've done some research into the page, if you've listened, that's where he came from. And there is one day in Challengers that has 3 best of 3s in a row that you cast. And one day it went to 10 hours of broadcast, and Atlas and me were understandably pretty loopy. And there was just one person. No, I don't think we were. And there was one person in Twitch chat that just made a joke about a player called Sponge, and me and Atlas just giggled and laughed for about 1.5 minutes, and not a sensible word was said after that.
That's all we're going to say.
Yeah.
Speaking of LCK Challengers, Pays, I saw today, was an article online about how his mom hired like a tutor and is helping every day. I mean, asking for a friend. Do you think
for a League of Legends tutor?
Do you think they also work in UNNA? Just asking for a friend.
I mean, they might. It's like, I know you're kind of saying it as a joke, but it's interesting because it is kind of like the evolution of sport. When you look towards traditional sports, how training methods, you know, advance and advance and advance, and like athletes of the past are completely surpassed by, you know, current day athletes. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if in some of these regions, if you think your kid has talent, call in an ex-pro, call in a coach, and actually just try to get that development. I mean, you can't say it hasn't worked for Pace.
They're so good. Like, the difference is just so apparent. This tournament, I hope it can change in 4 months. My hopes are not extremely high, but they are just so good. It's not
3-20 was the record combined between LEC and LCS versus LPL and LCK.
Yeah. I mean, if we look at our bracket, that's why we end up with what we end up with, which is LPL versus LCK to decide MSI. And I think that's kind of cool because you say it, we couldn't muster up anything between the LEC and the LCS. In fact, you know what? The games might actually turn out better now that we're both out. And I, for one, I'm excited about that. No flame to like the other teams, but you weren't good enough. These teams are, and I'm really hoping that we get these good series now, every single one that we see.
The next 4 series of League of Legends could be some of the best League of Legends ever. Just straight up. We've never had this level of international double elimination tournament happen. The last time you would say it happened would be like IPL 5 in 2012.
Oh God, no,
and
don't bring it up.
that was totally different. That was totally different. It didn't have this level of skill, of coaching, of history, of star power. It is actually going to be epic.
I mean, I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm maybe a little bit more doomer. I think it's going to be 3 of the next 4 because I think Gen G are going to clap BLG.
Could be.
But I do think that, you know, the top 3 teams to me are clearly JDG, T1, and Gen G. I felt that coming in. And I think any permutation of those teams in a best of 5 is going to be incredible to watch.
Should be. And tomorrow we get such a good one. T1 versus JDG. Also 30 minutes MSI countdown starting at 12:30 local time, Chronicler, because we need to take some time to preview that one.
Really, dude, there is so much going into that series that I think coming in, right, not just looking at the individual performances of the players and what we've seen this tournament, but also the amount of storyline, right? It's a rematch of last year's World Semifinals with a very different lineup for JDG. JDG have looked like one of, if not the best team fighting team that we've seen, particularly around 369 and Kanavi and Knight in the way they play around Ruler. And obviously, Ruler was also the one who beat T1 last LCK summer and kind of denied them the win that many, I felt, were expecting.
Yeah, and also for kids these days that have short attention spans, even though it's going to be incredibly high action League of Legends, if they spawn onto the map, you can set a timer for 20 minutes. And if you tune in at 20 minutes, you will see a T1 Baron fight. Every single game. So just don't worry about it. There's multiple different ways you can watch.
It's something to look forward for. But yeah, we're going to sign off for today and get ready for that banger tomorrow. So see you all tomorrow. Get ready. It's going to be one for the ages, we hope. T1 versus JDG, 30-minute pre-show starting at 12:30 local time. You do not want to miss it. Bye. Don't be too sad. We still love you.
Like to see if he can find a rocket grab. It's Ben pulled in, the damage finding its way onto the Cloud9 support, but he stays alive! Berserker's got pays! Berserker's got paid!
Pays his ultimate is really what swung in favor of Gen.G. The hook connects!
Sven, what are you doing there? But Blabber's already been engaged on by the entirety of Gen.G. Plunges into the back line, but the damage is already poured in, and Cloud9's lost 2 men! They lose the jungle, they lose the AD carry, they lose the top laner, they lose the turret! They've lost everything!
Blabber in a position to...
Oh, there we go. That's the grand entrance we're looking for. Sven's caught out. Chovy takes the kill. Gen.G's at 3-0, make it 4. And Gen.G are making game 2 even faster than the first time around. For C9 to do anything in neutral territory, especially when your jungler's already dead. Chovy goes in and they find the kill with the help of Peanut, and they're gonna make it 2 immediately.
Doran, you need to be careful.
Fudge coming in, Doran, nice body slam, flashes away back underneath the turret, survives with just what had to be 20 health. Shuriken! Fudge gets a solo kill in the top lane, right between the eyes. Doran continuing to chase, body slam forward. He takes a big old swing. He tags Fudge, and Doran gets the solo kill. Oh my God, they killed Kenneth. 1v4, he cannot win. First inhibitor about to fall back in mid. Berserker takes 1 auto attack and loses all of his health. He's gone before I can finish my sentence. As Fudge and Sven and Blabber can't do anything. Gen.G is mean. This series was easy. They never even broke a sweat. The #1 team from the LCK has that title for a reason.